Well, it's like it'll make you stab yourself with an ice pick.
And I like, yeah.
I hate
that's that. I think that's why I didn't open it, because it comes with a free ice pick.
But you know you're in trouble when that happens.
Exactly.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Yo.
That's appropriate.
Yo.
It's appropriate. For music video sins, Barrett Share.
Forget about it.
Yeah, there you go. We had to have it at some point,
That's right.
That's right. Today we're going to go back on our road trip.
Road trip.
On the road again.
The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
And we're going to go to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Easy.
Land of Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen,
That's basically all it is.
and Tony Soprano.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
basically, if you can't cut it in New York City, you end up in Jersey.
Yeah. It's the sixth borough of New York City. It's the one they don't want.
Yeah.
It's the one they don't want.
I'm telling you, I've said it before, but that's what bothers me about Springsteen is that Jersey has a very distinct accent, like a Tony Soprano type of accent, right? For like, I want him to sing all these fucking songs like a Jersey person, not like a Southern Arkansas steel worker or something like that.
Yeah.
I want him to say like a longshoreman or something like that.
Right.
But no, he does this affected accent, and it's inauthentic, even though he's supposed to be the paragon of authenticity, and we're supposed to be talking about movies. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, boy, this turned quickly into a Springsteen bash, and I am all about it.
Yeah.
Fuck
too.
that guy.
Me too.
Playing on Broadway.
Yeah.
What is he, a musical?
Oh, he's killing it too, right?
Singing
He's
for the
killing it.
working class? Fuck that guy.
Seriously. He
Jesus.
cares about blue collar folks?
Like that, like those people need anybody to defend them in anything. We're going to start off with an unusual one for New Jersey. 13 going on 30.
Hey, man.
It's
It's alphanumeric.
It's alphanumeric. This is a Jennifer Garner vehicle, which has been done a million times. It was done in Big, and it was done in, really, honestly, it's been done in 17 again, and Freaky Friday, and all those too, although there's no body switching this time, but it's more Big than anything.
Yeah.
She's like 12, 13-year-old girl, and then she's like, I can't remember. It's a birthday or something?
Well, she's 13 and then she's 30.
Yeah, she's a birthday wish, right?
Yeah, somebody gives her like some magic fairy dust or something.
Right,
like that,
right.
and
And somehow Andy Serkis is in this movie.
I know, right?
But,
Mark
Judy
Ruffalo, I
Greer.
think.
hell yeah, and Judy
Yeah.
Greer. She becomes 30, and the hijinks ensue.
What's a shame about this movie is that she's pretty fucking magical in this role.
Mm-hmm.
When she's playing
Jennifer
the
Garner
30-year-old,
is who you're
yes,
talking,
when she's the 30-year-old, but the 13-year-old in the 30-year-old's body,
Yeah.
she's every bit as great as Hanks was at playing that role. It's redundant because it comes after, and then the rest of the movie around her is not as good. So ultimately, this is remembered for a big thriller dance, basically, more than anything else, which is okay. She's really charming in this role. I think she makes it worth watching.
Oh, I think so. I wish Jennifer Garner would have obviously she still can, but gotten a little more like meaty roles to get into. you
Although
know?
that Peppermint movie is going to end up like a mid-level type hit.
Oh, is it really?
I don't know how much it cost to make that movie, but I know the opening weekend was somewhere around 11 to 13 million dollars.
Oh, that's probably better than-
the budget for that couldn't have been much.
I saw somebody reviewing that was like, Jennifer Garner is great at action, and I was like, where the fuck were you when Alias was on? She was great at action 20 years ago.
Oh, I know. I loved Alias back in the day. It just like a lot of J.J. Abrams type stuff, it started getting ridiculous.
Oh, sure.
But she was awesome in it, and like, of course, I was already sold and everything, but they would always do these like special Super Bowl episodes, and they'd show her in lingerie kicking ass and stuff, and you're like, I'm already there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She's proven herself in Alias, and I guess Peppermint is basically like a John Wick type of or Atomic Blonde type of thing, right?
Something like
I
that.
just wish that she'd get a little dramatic weight to some of these things. You know, I don't remember her having like a Kate Hudson, Penny Lane moment. You know?
and she should have. She's got the talent.
Yeah.
By the way, I was watching Pearl Harbor the other day. I'm sorry. It was literally the best choice available to me.
Oh, man.
And I played this game of, I totally forgot that motherfucker was in this movie. And Jennifer Garner's in this movie in a tiny role. Kate Beckinsale gets the main female role, but
Right.
Jennifer Garner. But like fucking Dan Aykroyd is in this movie. Did you remember that?
No.
No, I did not either. As some sort of like general FBI intelligence guy giving a briefing to the president. Michael Shannon is in this. I forgot Michael Shannon was in this movie.
Wow.
It's just it's not a good movie.
No, it's not.
Cuba Gooding Jr. forgot he was like an entire subplot in that movie.
Team America railed against this movie for him not having a bigger part. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a whole song about it.
I haven't seen Team America but one time.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor sucked, and I love you is basically what it's. And the whole song is like. Cuba Gooding Jr. should have had a bigger part. He's way better than Ben Affleck.
If you look at her IMDb, she's just it's a string of choices that turned out bad. Like the Elektra thing didn't work out very well. She's in a couple of rom-coms she's like in that Matthew McConaughey Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
Oh
movie.
yeah,
she's in that Catch and Release.
Yeah, Catch and Release is not very good.
She was like the main storyline in Valentine's Day too, you know?
Not a movie I've seen.
Well,
yeah.
But again,
I'm
she's
missing
always
it.
had the talent, and I think you're right. She hasn't quite had. Maybe she'll have like a
Garnazant.
a Garnazance
Yeah.
late in her career, and be she'll go Meryl Streep on her ass
Yeah,
or
there you go.
something. I don't know. She could totally have done like an Atomic Blonde as well as Charlize. I think.
That's what this probably is.
Well,
It's peppermint.
that's why it's kind of a shame. I think it's coming on the heels of so many movies like that.
Yeah.
It's like every actor in Hollywood's like, I want my Equalizer, and they're just greenlighting all of them.
And Dave Bautista's like, set mine in a soccer stadium.
Yes, exactly. What a great New Jersey was the time we got to talk about Jennifer Garner. Let's talk about Dude, Where's My Car? Like where she's in that for like 5 seconds.
Oh, is she one of the girlfriends?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then we go to Across the Universe. This movie. What do you think about this movie?
I don't know if I like it or not. I have this weird thing where I like a lot of Beatles covers more than I like the actual songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Fiona Apple's Across the Universe that wasn't in this movie. It was in Pleasantville.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Wilson Pickett's cover of Hey Jude more than I like the actual Hey Jude, which is probably heresy. And so this is kind of like right up my alley, but I don't think it ultimately works.
It's visually striking.
Yep.
And the music, of course, is timeless. But I don't know if everything in between that really adds up to a great movie at all.
It's like they take the songs. Dude's name is Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Girl's name is Lucy because she's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And it's like, okay, we've got to get from this point to this point to this point to make this song make sense. And it just doesn't
And
work.
this was the first in the line of Jim Sturgis vehicles that made us think he was going to be a big deal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this one didn't hit quite as well. And who knows what might have happened with Evan Rachel Wood too if this thing had hit.
Oh yeah,
because I mean she's good, but she's never really been like a major.
At least
like,
until Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld was probably her big break out of all this, which is strange. But I think I like watching Across the Universe because there's so much to like as far as just watching the visuals of it. And the music is cool, but like everything in between it is kind of
It's like, hey, let's get him to New Jersey.
Yeah,
so he can meet this.
You know what? You know what'll bring you back to reality about any band is when you start listening to that band's dedicated channel on Sirius XM, and you realize exactly how many forgettable songs U2 has recorded.
Oh yeah, man.
And the Beatles have recorded.
Yep.
And the Beach Boys have recorded.
Oh my God.
Because I go by the Beach Boys channel. I don't think it's up
Beach
right
Boys
now.
channel?
There was for like 6 months, and
Really?
I would go by it all the time, expecting. God
Slip
only
John
knows,
B.
but it would always be like some B-side or some shit I never heard
That's
of.
the thing, right? Like they make these channels and then they use it as an excuse to play like this, obscure shit. And you're like, I mean, I guess I'm into the Beach Boys, but I'm not into them that much.
Exactly. Just play Pet Sounds over and over again. That's
Right.
fine.
Then we have Admission. It's a Tina Fey, Paul Rudd movie. Did anybody see that?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. You didn't see this?
Admission?
Yeah, it's where so Tina Fey is like a Princeton admissions counselor, and she gets sent to evaluate this kid who's under Paul Rudd's tutelage, and in this like exceptional school and stuff like that. And the kid's a genius, and of course Tina Fey and Paul Rudd find a way to fall in love. It's a little elevated relative to your regular rom-com because I think the lead players are so good. But it's certainly not like fantastic.
Then we have AI, artificial intelligence.
New Jersey?
Yeah, man. Like the whole beginning of that with the family and all that stuff is all in New Jersey.
But it could have been. It could literally be anywhere.
It absolutely could be. But the reason that it's in New Jersey is because everything's flooded. Like all the coastal stuff has been flooded, so it has to like
it could be in
migrate
13
to,
other states too.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Jersey is that much higher elevation than Manhattan?
Well, I think it just like it seeps in gradually. So eventually,
I'm
Jersey's
sure
gonna be...
like New Jersey touches some part of the Appalachians up there at some point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm sure this is like Southwest
I know Dr.
Jersey.
Strange drove 5 minutes outside of New York City and was in like the hugest mountains
that's like
ever.
right outside of New York City.
Okay, I thought maybe that was Jersey.
No, like you go through the Lincoln Tunnel and you're in mountains.
Yes, definitely mountains. Definitely mountains. I don't know why you like this movie so much.
Which movie?
AI.
It's more a reflection of how much I want it to be good than how good it ends up being. It definitely has a way too long ending-itis.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the vibe, man. It's just when you take a something that Kubrick was planning and then you give it to Spielberg, you end up with something that is unlike either of their works.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's that vibe, and it's Haley Joel Osment has yet to become annoying in this movie.
Yeah.
And Jude Law, this was the movie where I realized Jude Law was dynamite.
Yeah.
And up until then, he had just been an actor. But yeah, it's not great. I can't like recommend it. I like watching it.
Yeah.
I also have seen Cloud Atlas 5 times. You should not necessarily take that as a sign of respect. Sometimes I like hurting myself.
I always thought it was interesting though that Kubrick didn't want to do this movie for the longest time because of the special effects hadn't caught up or whatever, but he could have done this.
Well, I mean, is this his type of story though?
Think out all the Spielberg stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's so obviously Spielberg. Yes, it is something that he would do.
It's more of an exploration of what is real, what is human, what is.
I guess
like that Robin Williams shit wouldn't be in this.
Right. Yeah.
Kubrick
I guess that's where I get distracted.
Yeah.
Is the Spielbergism.
Yeah, and all that shiny, glossy, whatever it is that he did in Minority Report as well.
Yep.
Because it's sci-fi, it must have to be this sheen that's on it, of some sort. Take that out of it, and then just talk about a boy who is, it's a Pinocchio story.
Yeah.
And I think Haley Joel Osment probably would have been creepier probably under the Kubrick direction. And, it would have been more about the family and him dealing with getting thrown out and all that. Who knows? He may not even been thrown out.
I know.
Because Spielberg has this thing about, children, abandonment, fathers.
Exactly.
Isn't there a Itchy and Scratchy with Pinocchio?
Yeah.
Oh, Pinocchio.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a movie it seems like it's striving for something that it doesn't quite get to. It's I mean, I can watch it. I can watch it when it's on every once in a while, but yeah, I know. Yeah. The same thing for American Gangster, which is the next one.
Boy, where did that one go wrong?
Yeah. You have Ridley Scott, you have Denzel Washington, you have Ridley, and you have Russell Crowe.
I don't know if it went wrong.
You like this movie?
Denzel's performance is pretty freaking great.
Yes, I agree.
And I am a Denzel apologist. And I was telling my friend the other day who was watching this movie, the friend that sends me screenshots of what he's watching, and I try and guess the movie, and I'm usually right. And I was like, this is basically a much more violent version of Catch Me If You Can. And once I sort of made that, he was like, whoa. Because at the end, Denzel becomes, basically he's going to help Russell Crowe in investigating organized crime and whatnot, and turns it around. It's trying too hard to be an epic, and span all these years. And I don't think Russell Crowe is anywhere near as up to it as Denzel is in this movie.
There's just sometimes where he looks tired.
Long line. There's this long line of Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe. Like Russell Crowe was in everything he
Body
did.
of Lies.
And he was, obviously it started with Gladiator, and then you had Body of Lies, you had this, you had Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
There was another one that was that one where he's a businessman or something. Good Year. A Good Year was another one.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And so like it was that long stretch.
He was in Les Mis, which was directed by
Totally, yes. Yes.
Can you imagine Ridley Scott's Les Mis?
Oh my God.
No, this is way too long for me, this American Gangster. It's like 2.5 hours.
It
something
is.
like that.
It is.
And it's like this story could be told and cut down and everything. And
I just wouldn't say the whole thing is forgettable or ignorable.
no, he is very good. You're right. Denzel is always fantastic.
Yeah.
It was also a period of time where all these like gangster movies really like coming up short. Like Public Enemies came out like a year after this, I think. And just I don't know what it is. How can you fuck these kind of stories up? You know, it's like they're almost forgetting to put excitement into these biopic type movies.
Yeah.
You know,
Or when they are, like, it's super spaced out.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, the dynamic parts, like that scene in Public Enemy, I know we're not supposed to be talking about Public Enemies, but, like, there's that scene where Christian Bale's chasing him through the woods and all that stuff, and you hear the percussive gunshots and all that stuff. That's a great scene.
Yeah.
But that's the only great scene in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's like the part where Denzel goes into that party and fucking shoots the guy.
Yeah.
And starts telling him, like, how to get the blood out of the carpet and shit like that. That's a great scene.
Yeah.
But it's, like, sandwiched in between a bunch of, like, boring shit, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That movie was the American Gangster so exhausting. I've forgotten most everything about
Yeah,
it.
that's fair.
Then American Hustle.
Okay.
This is another one that is good. Don't know if it ever like quite gets there to be great, but
it did get nominated for a bunch of
it
shit.
did, yeah.
And that's why I watched it. And I remember thinking, okay, so that was okay. It could be an HBO original film in terms of like budget and performances. Nobody really stands out as, I guess, is this the one that has Louis C.K. in it?
Yes.
As like a funny little
Yes.
moment. But that's all I remember standing out as fun. Again, like I'm bringing up Louis C.K. as a good thing. Because it's got a great cast. Bradley Cooper,
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Renner,
Christian Bale.
Oscar girl, Jennifer Lawrence,
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, and yet somehow it just kind of feels okay. Watchable, but
wonder
not
if-
great.
I wonder if David O. Russell just bought into his own bullshit after Three Kings.
I think David O. Russell, yes. I thought you were going to give him more credit than that. Yes, I think he bought into his own bullshit after spanking the monkey.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too.
Because again, this is not a guy I'm going to give a lot of rope to in terms of like saying nice things about him. He's made some good films, but there are too many reports of him being an asshole on set for me to give him much rope.
he makes good some. Like, Three Kings, I think, would qualify as great.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
But otherwise, I don't really know if there's any...
Well, you
Silver
guys
Lining
like The
Playbook-
Fighter more than I do.
The Fighter's
Yeah.
good. I didn't never see that Joy movie at all.
Joy is... Well, it's like, it'll make you stab yourself with an ice pick.
And I like yeah.
I hate
That's that. I think that's why I didn't open it, because it comes with a free ice pick.
But you know you're in trouble when that happens.
Exactly. It's like pasted on the side of the Blu-ray. He also did Silver Linings Playbook, which was fun too.
That's probably after Three Kings his best, I would say. But yeah, he bought into his own, and a lot of other people have bought into his bullshit. Bradley Cooper's made a bunch of movies with him. Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro shows up in Joy, and you're just like, "Fuck, dude." Is this guy like paying for your like increasing medical bills, or like why are you here?
Well, he got his first Oscar nomination in forever for Silver Linings Playbook.
So maybe that's it, like some kind of payback.
I think now he's like, I trust this guy. He got me another nomination. Blah blah blah. I mean,
Speaking of Oscar nominations, did you watch that Nick Cage thing that I tweeted yesterday?
No.
I don't know if you saw this. GQ did like a 20-minute sit down with Nicolas Cage where he breaks down like his most iconic characters and everything, including like Con Air, Face Off, Leaving Las Vegas, obviously, and stuff like that, and Adaptation. And so they get to Adaptation. He goes in this whole thing about like, I was Charlie this day because I woke up on this side of the bed, and I was Donald because I woke up on this side of the bed, and like I've never had a more active like acrobatic performance and stuff like that. Very eloquent about it. And then he was like, movie came out. And Chris was great. Meryl was great. They got nominated. It was one of like the most taxing acting performances of my career, but good for them.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what happens when you're in Con Air and fucking The Rock and all that since your last Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
People like there was a not serious, but there were like people who were seriously saying Eddie Murphy shouldn't have a Dreamgirls nomination because Norbit came out at the time. Well, that just disqualifies him and whatever. Nothing disqualifies anybody. If you do something amazing, then I think you should get your proper desserts for it.
I bet Beethoven wrote some shit. We just never heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet
I'm
he wrote
sure.
some turds.
Guaranteed.
Right? Mozart had a few that he probably wanted back.
Yeah.
He definitely did. We all know.
Nash music.
Like Chopsticks, when he wrote Chopsticks.
Yeah.
He's probably like, oh, that's too elementary. I got to write something better than that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mozart, Artie Lang's Beer League.
I've somehow seen this. This is fucking awful. This
I'm
is
sure it
fucking
is.
awful. I don't know how he got funding. Well, I know how he got funding. He was on the Howard Stern show at this point, and was a beloved figure. This is right when he moved to Sirius. And he was like part of the original crew when Howard Stern made the move to satellite. And he got super popular, and I think overwhelmingly so because that's when he attempted suicide. So this is a bad movie.
I've not seen it, and now I will not.
Yeah. And then we have, I think there's several movies called Bad Company. But this is the Joel Schumacher one that has Anthony Hopkins and Chris Rock in it. I can't even remember if I saw this.
Not the Ellen Barkin one?
It is not.
And this is
that
the one
was
where
that was that God, that was like 90s, I think, Bad Company.
Yeah, there's a couple.
And Larry
Yeah.
Fishburne.
Yeah, that was one of the first it was 95 when that one came out. That was one of the first Red Band trailers I'd ever seen was Bad Company. But this one is a Joel Schumacher vehicle.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, so Chris Rock is playing the twin brother of his CIA brother that got
played by
killed.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not awful. No, it's pretty awful.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
It's pretty awful. It's not as bad as the band Bad Company writing a song called Bad Company.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty fucking bad.
Then we have Be Kind Rewind. This is another one that's almost there. And
It's just so slight.
It's delightful in places.
Yeah.
And not so much totally.
It's whisper thin. And it was
Yeah.
coming off of something, Michel Gondry did this, coming off of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which had gravitas and humor and all kinds of crazy shit, like cerebral stuff. Then he does Be Kind Rewind. I'm like super psyched for it because Jack Black and Mos Def. And like, it's just, it's paper thin.
This movie has way too large a cult following online.
Mhm.
Like, there are people online that will talk about this movie with way too much respect.
Really?
I'll just call them out. You're wrong. It is, like you said, it's whispered. It's a fucking saltine cracker of a movie.
Yeah.
In the right context,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's not going to wow anyone. So yeah, that's it. It's
I feel
harmless
like
fun.
I almost feel like Be Kind Rewind, the plot of this movie would be better, and you would have to change a lot, but it would almost be better in the age of YouTube because doing Swede versions of movies and everything, and people wanting to see that movie and renting it and going, "Oh, this is great! This is exactly what I wanted," and it becomes this big, huge cult following in the town. I'm not exactly buying, but like if it were on YouTube and people were just putting out their own versions of movies on YouTube, I feel like those could take off.
Well, because that has happened. There have been a number of viral instances, those kids that spent years doing the Raiders of the Lost Ark shot-for-shot remake. That just recently I saw one where somebody did Toy Story 2 or Toy Story 3.
Yeah, wasn't it the first Toy Story?
It might have been the first, but it was with toys.
Oh, okay.
Like they had Woody toys and Buzz toys in a live set bedroom.
Oh, really?
And did like a stop motion remake
Yeah.
of either a big scene or the whole movie.
I think it's exactly the movie, and Pixar signed off on it too.
Oh, interesting.
They said you can do this. This
That's
is great.
Huh.
You know,
check
that
that out.
was a few years ago. Unless you're thinking of some other Toy Story thing that's happened in the past, whatever. But yeah, those are fun on those kind of levels. But I don't know. In Be Kind Rewind, I just remember watching it going,
And there's nothing like conceptually like subversive about this.
No.
It's like a pretty straightforward story.
Yeah.
So it was just weird coming on
the tail end of when video, like people were stopping renting videos and everything.
Yeah, it was a bad time for this movie.
Yeah. So I mean, it was still another, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before it really started getting bad for stuff like Blockbuster and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What was the deal with that in a Captain Marvel Blockbuster video? Is that in the past when that
it's to establish that it's
movie
in the
takes
past.
place in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good way
Also,
to do it.
you probably don't have to pay anybody royalties for that anymore, do you?
No, who are you
Right.
going to pay?
Who are you going to pay?
I don't know. There's isn't there still one in Alaska?
No, they shut it down.
That's the last
I think
one?
they have some sort of streaming service or something like that they're trying to revive.
Really? Wow.
I think they'll be fine.
Next one, Best Picture winner in 2001, A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
More Russell Crowe for your ass.
For your
Well, who knew he made so many Jersey movies?
Yeah.
Jersey movies.
Yeah, I mean, this happens. So he got sick. John Nash got sick when he was at Yale, and that's when he was doing all that stuff on the window and all that stuff. But he ended up teaching at Princeton. And I've said it before, I like this movie. I do have a connection with the guy, so that probably helps. But I liked it before I actually met the guy. I think it's just a great portrayal of schizophrenia. Ed Harris is so fucking great in this movie. Paul Bettany is really good in this movie. Yes, it could have been shot, by a different director, in a different way that would make it more visually interesting, but I just dig it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably still one of the better Ron Howard movies.
Yeah, I think so.
Out there. I was underwhelmed when I saw it the first time. I don't know if I've seen it since. I saw it in theaters back then, but I don't think I've seen parts of it since.
Doesn't it basically go Apollo 13, Willow, and then A Beautiful Mind?
I mean, aren't you short selling Willow? I know you don't like boxing movies. I got to put Cinderella Man up there though, because that's one of his.
Oh yeah,
it's one of his better movies, and nobody saw it.
I saw it.
It came out 6 months after $1 Million Baby though, so it was. It's one of those.
Wasn't that Russell Crowe too?
Yeah.
Russell Crowe
And Renee Zellweger.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's
And
playing
Paul Giamatti.
It's like Depression era. Like they're all literally sleeping in one room and they have no heat.
Yeah.
The movie kind of, it's a good movie, but the movie does hammer that poor living a little too much.
The depression, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Too much depression.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
One of the best movies on this list today.
Yeah.
Being John Malkovich is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Spike Jonze has a really good track record, right?
Yes.
I
In
mean,
fact, it's nearly perfect.
I actually liked Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, a lot of people
It's probably
do.
on the lower end.
It was not one of mine, just for a variety of reasons that are probably dumb. But he's one of those guys who doesn't work very often.
I know, and when he does, it's fucking great.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time on these movies. Being John Malkovich was his debut. As far as film is concerned, he had done a lot of music videos. Yeah. Sabotage was one of the Beastie Boys. Sabotage was one of the big ones, but yeah, this was I think it was his film debut, and it's just got that premise is so good. It's meta, but it's also it's not so meta that it doesn't let you in, I guess, or whatever. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like sometimes some things are so meta that you're like, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's going. This one has a good story to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a real, actual, a lot of this makes sense in a sci-fi sort of way, even though it's more of a drama and comedy and all that.
I don't think there's much, if any, score in this movie. Like there's just a lot of dialogue heavy.
It's Carter Burwell who did the score for this. I think.
Oh yeah, well
it's got that.
It's spare.
Coen Brothers sort of score to it and everything. Yeah, I love this movie to pieces, man. Like the whole thing where Cusack's going through and learning about the building and all that, and they have the little halfway level that they have to go onto and stop the elevator. There's like the elevator's got all these like dents in it from all the times that people have been crowbarring it open.
Hey, this is like one of the only non-regular John Cusack roles that he's ever played. Because he's unrecognizable visually, but like he doesn't act like John Cusack necessarily during this.
No,
movie.
I agree.
And that's hard for him to do. I think.
I agree.
And it's, and it has, I guess it's a little heavy handed that, he's a puppet master and all that, but I really like it. I like it too when these actors are in Malkovich and Malkovich has to act like they would inside of him and everything, especially towards the end where Cusack's in him and everything. And he's like, I look amazing. I'd fuck me. Just the one thing that I kept thinking during that whole movie, I was like, I wonder if he's going to go inside his own portal. And I was so glad when they decided to explore that. Being John Malkovich, great movie. We've talked about it a few times. Then there is The Bounty Hunter, Gerard Butler, Jennifer Aniston. I don't think I saw this, but I think it's like a Midnight Run type of ripoff type movie.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny and cute and charming and stuff like that. I think this is after
every
300.
time Gerard Butler was in one of these, like this and The Ugly Truth and all that, they were awful.
Well, and it's like she's like his ex-wife or something.
Yes. Yeah. There's
never
some sort of
saw it.
connection.
Never had any interest.
It's bad.
All right, let's move on.
Then there's Brewster's Millions. I never saw this.
Never saw.
Oh, really?
This is one of those movies that when blockbusters were around, I walked past it so many times. I was like, I wonder what that movie's all about. This was like a PG Richard Pryor movie, right?
It's awesome. Well, he had a run of, and we'll get to another one of like Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movies, and then this was his big, I think, his solo piece. But this is a fun movie. It's a really interesting premise. He has to spend $30 million within, I think, a week or something like that to gain $300 million. He's like a retired ball player or something like that. And so the whole thing is like he has to, there's parameters on what he can do with the money and stuff like that. But it's him going through this week trying to spend $30 million so he can get this fortune. And it's hilarious. He was such a good actor, like facially, like, when the eyes got all big and everything and he's screaming and all that stuff. And then he'd tone it down and he could really, that's how he sold jokes so well.
Well, I was going to say that is what made his stand-up so good, was that he sold it physically, a lot of it with his face, in a way that a lot of stand-ups don't even bother trying.
That's true, yeah. And this is a fun movie.
John Candy's
I think
in
you would
that?
like, yeah.
This is something that it's one of those that just has been buried over time because, like I said, used to see the video cover all the time. And I probably registered it as something I couldn't watch because Richard Pryor was in it and because everything was R-rated. But this is PG all the way. This is a family comedy. Then there's Broken Flowers. Boy, this is one of the best Bill Murray performances of all time.
I fucking love this movie so much. This is maybe the best Jim Jarmusch movie.
It's certainly the most accessible one. Like most of the ones that he does are like, you have to be like in a real mood to watch it. This one is more straight laced. Jeffrey Wright now Jeffrey Wright has had a great career after this. But I thought he would be bigger after this than he is. Like, I don't think you hear Jeffrey Wright's name and immediately assume that's a movie I got to go see.
No.
But when he was in this, and he's playing sort of like an amateur detective.
Yeah, I think he's like a mystery writer or something like that. Yeah,
and he's so good in it. I thought he was going. I don't think he got nominated, but he should have been nominated. Or whatever. But what is it? Bill Murray's going to all these different women that he's had relationships with in the past.
He gets a note from from somebody saying that he has a 19-year-old son, and so he doesn't know who it's from, so he's got to go back to like the most obvious candidates, and like Frances Conroy is one. is it? It's not Michelle Pfeiffer. Sharon Stone.
Sharon
obviously,
Stone,
is one,
yeah.
who's got a very precocious and very naked daughter.
Yeah, it just comes in like on the phone. He's like at the fireplace or something. She comes in like on the phone, completely naked, and then her name's Lolita, of course.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And she just looks at him and just laughs and like goes back down the hallway.
The other ones are. Let me just pull it up because I'm curious. Frances Conroy is one. Jessica Lange is one. Julie Delpy. And the one that super hates him is Tilda Swinton. I think.
Yeah.
And and oh my God, watch this movie and watch it till the very end because it's got one of the coolest endings that I've seen in forever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spoil it. It's got one of the coolest endings that sets you up for one thing and then just kind of hits you in the gut. It's very cool.
Then there is Chasing Amy. I think this is still Kevin Smith's best movie.
I agree. Although
Over
on
Clerks?
the day that I watch
Yes.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I will pick it.
Yeah.
But then on every other day, I will come back to Chasing
Jay
Amy.
and Silent Bob is probably my favorite and funniest.
Okay.
But Chasing Amy, I think, is his best. Now, of course, since this movie's come out, a lot of things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of whether or not you can change a lesbian or
Mhm.
not is a matter of controversy at this point. Back then it wasn't really, although there was some controversy about it back then.
Well, there was even a whole Seinfeld episode where Elaine was trying to get a gay guy to switch teams
Right.
by sleeping with him, and she succeeds for about 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to his team. So, again, in the era that it was made, I think it's totally harmless. and fine.
Ben Affleck and Joey Lauren Adams are really good in this. They really play off of each other really well in this. And there's that great scene where, of course, it's all in the rain and everything. And she's like telling him, I'm gay. I can't just, just decide, you can't just change me and like we're going to start dating and it's going to be happily ever after and everything. And then little do we know that's the smallest of his worries, whatever is, because after that, he can't come to terms with the fact that she's had so many sexual partners. Right. And he just can't get his mind over it and everything because she was made fun of for this and she's like it's intimidating and all that.
I'll tell you why it's great because it's relatable. You ever had this issue? I don't want to put you on the spot. I've had this issue.
What issue?
With jealousy, with being with a woman who's had a lot of experience.
One of the many college girlfriends that I have amalgamated into multiple sin jokes, one of them had tons of sex in high school and wanted nothing to do with sex with me. It was a very unique relationship.
Yeah.
Because she was very open with it. I've had all kinds of sex. Like, there was even one time where I slept with that guy. That guy walking by. I'm like,
and
wow, I don't really need to know that.
Well, it's something like that. That's exactly what is explored in Chasing Amy, where it's the whole finger cuffs thing.
Yeah.
Where, like, he's confronted with this. And it's not like he can just, I'm not going to listen. Like, he's just going to have to deal with this. And that's his inability to do that is one of the many reasons that this is just never going to work out.
And I think that's fairly relatable.
It's totally relatable.
I think a lot
Much more
of guys
so than changing a lesbian.
Well, I was going to say, I think a lot of guys, even if you take out like the homosexuality angle, a lot of guys were about to get married and found out the woman they were marrying or the guy they were marrying had 36 sexual partners and they'd only had a few in their. I think anybody would have a hard time with that, at least at first.
The idea is, do you, and I'm not meaning this as a pun, do you measure up?
Right.
To any of the other past partners?
I think you should mean it as a pun.
Yeah. Now that I've said it, it's totally a pun. I think that's also the point in this too, is that she says, I tried all of those people and they didn't have what I was looking for. And that's what she's trying to tell him throughout this entire thing. It doesn't matter what you're like compared to everybody else. I found somebody that I'm happy with. And that's the point of the whole thing. I don't know if I really buy the Jason Lee is pissed off at him thing throughout this movie. I know that we're supposed to think he's gay and like that, that he's secretly gay and that Ben Affleck is his like, the love of his life or something like that. That's what a lot of people have theorized. Anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because later on in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jason Lee in a throwaway joke is with the black dude.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And there's that whole insinuation that they're together and everything. But I don't know. Do you buy that as a best friend, like getting upset that you're best friends with somebody who was a lesbian or whatever?
I mean, I think that it's less about, and again, it's just a theory or whatever. I would think it's less about like the, having romantic feelings for him or something like that, than it is more he's feeling like his only support is being taken away because he doesn't really have any other support. Like he's fully dependent on Ben Affleck's character, and otherwise, like he's just pushing everybody else away. Yeah, he's a dickhead.
And there's some sort of symbolism there that he's a tracer and he's just going over the lines of what he's doing and all that. I love this movie despite any kind of controversy that you have out of it and everything. I really, really enjoy it, and I've seen it a good 30 times probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And also it's where Pronoun Game came from.
That's right.
Because that's where when Joey Lauren Adams is talking to her lesbian friends about, and she keeps saying they and instead of he and everything. The one friend's like, "Why are you playing the pronoun game?"
Yeah.
And that's where that all came from.
That's right.
It's out of order, but Clerks is next.
Yeah, obviously a good chunk of the Kevin Smith, especially the early stuff, is all set in New Jersey. It's where he's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's all set in Canada.
Yeah.
Where he's not from.
Yeah. Well, Scott Mosier is producers from Canada. So I think he's sort of developed an affinity for, and he also was like a big Degrassi fan and everything.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, I just read an article a couple days ago that he had to rewrite his next Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie script because of all the fat jokes that were in it since he lost so much weight.
Yeah. Holy crap.
So I thought that was kind of, it's a good problem to have. He's skinnier and healthier and but I just thought that was interesting. Your life changes that much in 8 months.
Yeah.
Had to completely write a script.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Clerks was in that year of 1994 that was so just amazing for film. I remember seeing the trailer for this on Pulp Fiction. It was attached to that. And it came out probably about a month later or so. But it was a new era of this dialogue driven type of movie, and people had some really interesting things to say, really R-rated things to say, but stuff that you haven't heard before and talked about in such a, and that's why Clerks is still revered today, because it has that natural dialogue with some real gross stuff in it, but like that's how people really do talk about stuff.
I think I can see your kidneys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's vignettes and everything. Yeah. It's people coming into the store and introducing new problems. There's a thread of a story in here where, he's not supposed to be here today, and like he wants to get back together with his old girlfriend who was the town slut back in the day and probably still is.
Yeah, and then his current girlfriend sucks a bunch of dicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Sucked a bunch of dicks.
Yeah. How many dicks did you suck?
Try not to suck any dicks in the parking lot. Come back here.
But but yeah, it's just these conversations all the way through, black and white, cheap as hell. And I think it took a long time for this movie to actually make a profit though, because of the marketing and the songs they put in it and all that. Because Miramax came in and bought it, and then that's when you got all those like big Soul Asylum and back in the day Soul Asylum and all that, Alice in Chains. But yeah, Clerks is really good, and there was an alternate ending where he gets shot. At the end, he gets killed.
I did not know that.
And he was like, "This is why you have good editors, man, because they talked me out of this." But then you can still see that alternate ending where just somebody walks in.
I need to check that. Oh, I think I have seen.
He walks in, he's like, "We're closed," and the guy's like, just shoots him, and it goes to black.
Wow, Sopranos foreshadowing.
Yeah, and then we can talk about Clerks 2 as well, which I don't think. I mean, Now, you listen to Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier and all those guys, they like Clerks 2 better. I don't.
Nope.
I don't think this is anywhere near. And at this point, the surprise is gone, right? We've seen movies like this, and it's a slicker version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it adds much to it to be a slicker, like, now that 13 years had passed when this one came out. And it's got funny moments in it. It's got funny moments, but for the most part, there's some things that drag in here, and I'm not buying Dante and Rosario Dawson for
or
1 minute.
Dante and Jen Swaback.
Yeah. I mean,
God bless Brian O'Halloran. obviously.
exactly. We've talked to this guy. He knows.
It's almost worth watching for that prison scene or that jail scene between Randall and Dante.
Yeah.
But man, I rewatched this again not too long ago, and I was like, man, just cannot connect. And it's not just them. Like, a lot of people love this movie, love it more than Clerks, and I just don't get it.
Yeah. Then there is Mallrats, another one that, this was his follow-up to Clerks. This came out the year after.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clerks had probably made its way through like festivals and stuff. That's why Mallrats came out not too long after. Mallrats was supposed to be a big, Animal House type comedy, nudity and all the, language and everything. There's barely any nudity.
Well, it's all Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, for like a brief second. But this movie, there's something that got lost here. There's another one that's just, I've given Mallrats a lot of chances.
Me too. I've probably seen that over 30 times.
Yeah, and I think we've hit on it, right? It's Claire Forlani and it's Jeremy London who sort of like ruined this movie. Like, everybody else is fine, but they're not made for this type of movie.
Yeah.
Then Dogma, which I've never enjoyed at all.
You never enjoyed it?
No.
Oh man, I like this movie. I like this movie a lot.
Saw it once, didn't like it, never saw it again. Are we just doing all the Kevin Smith movies?
It's all in a row here.
All right, cool. I didn't look at the list. I'm lazy. I didn't really like Dogma all that much. It just felt a little reachy.
Reachy how?
On
the religious stuff or on the what?
Yeah, the edginess, the finding comedy and pushing buttons.
I'll tell you
what that gesture means.
I'll tell you one thing that I mean, there are good moments in this, but man, shit monster, come on.
No, yeah, that's definitely the weakest part.
Yeah, that's just,
I don't know, man. I like Linda Fiorentino. I think is a great protagonist. I think Jay and Silent Bob are used in this just enough. I fucking love Matt and Ben in this role because they're having these conversations while they're doing their angelic deeds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're really just, they don't give a shit what's going on, you know? And I think that's really good. It kind of falls apart at the end, but like, I'm down. I'm down with this movie.
I may have to give it another shot someday. I watched it in theaters back when it came out.
Oh, really?
And I had a bad experience with the theater that I watched it in too, so that could have probably contributed.
Maybe worth a look,
but it might be worth take a look again sometime.
It ain't perfect, and it is heavy-handed, and it is technically preachy in a different way in some parts, but in general, it's just like good Kevin Smith dialogue with interesting characters, and I think Linda Fiorentino and Alan Rickman. My God, that dude is fucking great in this. It's worth a watch.
And then there's Jersey Girl. That's not very good at all. PG-13 movie. The best part of it to me is when Affleck takes his daughter to see Sweeney Todd, and it's way more violent than he thought it would be. Now, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is not listed in this.
List. They start off in Jersey, but then it's a cross country.
Yeah, it is cross country after that, but I don't know. That we talked about it a little bit. I think that's still the funniest one that he's made.
It is. And when I first saw it, I thought it was too meta. I thought it was like too wacky and zany and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, it's probably the one that I come back to more often.
It's just uniformly good all the way through. Then we get out of the Kevin Smith, the View Askew universe there, and we're on to Coneheads. Oh God!
I am actually super proud to tell you I have never seen this movie.
Oh yeah,
I have. And it was probably in 1993 the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
There's like a semi-interesting thing like in this movie where, cause it's Michelle Burke who is the daughter in this. And there's a scene with her friends in a car or whatever, and it's Joey Lauren Adams, and it's I think it's Parker Posey.
Really?
And that's from Dazed and Confused.
That's funny.
She sort of invited them to come over and be her friends in that. I think that's how that came down or whatever. But yeah, Conehead's another Saturday Night Live. This was way past its prime when it came out.
Yeah, and it wasn't funny during Saturday Night Live. Maybe like the first time, maybe the first couple times, but
no.
Yeah, all right, fish out of water. Yeah, you look stupid. You look like a conehead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Lindsay Lohan movie. I never saw this.
You never did?
Nope.
Yeah.
Too many movies starting with the word confessions.
This is
Confessions
my
of a Dangerous
confession.
Mind, Confessions of a Shopaholic, Confessions of whatever this fucking movie is.
This was like right around
These are
her.
my confessions.
Now this was like at probably the peak of Lindsay Lohan era.
It is.
This was the funny, because when she started going downhill and everything. Did you ever watch The Soup, the Joel McHale The Soup?
Yeah.
Because they would have it was during the time where Miley Cyrus was on the rise, and she was on anytime they did a Miley story, it was like, it's Miley, and then they would do a Lindsay Lohan story, it's like, it's Lindsay.
This came out the same year as Mean Girls, and
Then it was definitely a big year for her.
yeah, Mean Girls was the very height of her popularity, and then after that, yeah, nothing came out that was worthwhile.
Yeah. How old do you think she is?
How old?
Yeah.
She's 32.
Wow, still young.
Yeah, she was born in 86.
Yeah.
Then there is Copland.
Copland.
Copland's good.
Ooh, Copland is good. There are basically two kinds of James Mangold movies.
Uh-huh.
Good ones and the other ones.
Yes.
And when he's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
And this drew me in. Probably they did this on purpose, but it was like one of the first kind of against type Stallone roles that I had seen in a long time. He's very soft-spoken. He's partially deaf. He's put upon by all these New York cops who live in his Jersey town and push him around and are dirty. And he just decides eventually enough is enough. And it's like kind of one man against crooked cops. It's totally good.
Just
I would
a
totally recommend
huge cast in this, too.
Everybody is in this.
You have De Niro, you have Leota, you have Keitel.
Yep.
Leota has that great line where like, being right is not a bulletproof vest, Freddie. But yeah, Peter Berg's in it, Janine Garofalo, Robert Patrick, Michael Rappaport, Annabella Sciorra, Noah Emmerich, Kathy Moriarty, John Spencer, Frank Vincent. I mean, it's just a million people you've seen before and have enjoyed before. Good movie.
This
I
has
haven't
gotten
seen
lost
it
to
forever.
time.
Yeah.
Like people, it's one of those that doesn't like frequently appear on like the Netflixes and the Amazons and stuff like
Nope.
that. And it should, because it really is good. It's interesting because I don't think it made a lot of money, nor did it get the critical acclaim that it was expected to, because it was expected to, because of that cast.
Well, and he had, this is early in his career, he had made Heavy, and I think that might have been the only thing, and that had a bunch of buzz and critical darling, and so that's how he was able to land this massive cast for this movie. And so I think there were so many expectations. We expected an A+, it came in at an A-, and so everyone just forgot about it, but it's still really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's prove this Jeremy theory, by the way. So Heavy was his first movie. Good. Copland. Good. Girl Interrupted. No.
Oh.
No, that was one of those where the entire awards season, I was just like, what fucking movie did you watch?
Okay,
Anyway,
so maybe that disproves the theory.
Well,
Kate and Leopold, no. Identity, yes.
Yes.
Walk the Line, yes. 310 to Yuma,
Yes.
Night and Day, no. The Wolverine,
No.
And then Logan.
Yes, yes.
I want to play this game with multiple directors.
Well, we would rarely find that level of consistency. But that was very fun. We should maybe do that again.
Yeah, we
someday.
should. Speaking of great Stallone movies, Daylight. Yeah,
Oh, Jesus
not
Christ.
a great
This is
movie.
only a Jersey movie because Jersey's on the other side of the tunnel.
Well, yeah,
though,
they're
right?
in the middle of the Holland Tunnel. You got
Okay.
New York on one side, you got Jersey
It's
on the other.
really more of like a Hudson River movie, right?
Well, yeah. We should. It'll be Sully and Daylight would be the
Yeah.
only two Hudson
The Hudson River proxy.
Yeah, this was kind of like a mini resurgence of disaster type movies, and this was Stallone's, and it was no good.
No, it wasn't good at
No,
all.
this sucked.
Yeah, it sucked very bad. Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yeah, man, that was a fun
I
movie.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, really?
This
only
was
saw it
Madonna,
once.
right?
This was, I think, the first Madonna feature because she did Who's That Girl, I think, after this, and then Dick Tracy and all that stuff. But this is Rosanna Arquette, and she obsessively looks over like personal ads and stuff like that, and she sees a guy that is desperately seeking Susan, who is Madonna, and then they get into all kinds of hijinks and stuff like
There's
that.
a lot of desperation in these titles. Chasing Amy, Desperately Seeking Susan. We're really going a long way to chase after these girls.
Writing
aren't
an entire journal about Cindy.
we? Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Then we have Don John. That was the Joseph Gordon-Levitt directed movie, right?
Hey, what'd you
Yes.
think of this?
Pretty forgettable.
Oh, really? You think?
I thought it was kind of weak.
I don't know what to think of this. I have seen it one time. It is kind of. I mean, I guess it is kind of interesting in that, you know, I guess from a male point of view, you're like hoping that Scarlett Johansson is like that freak in the bed type of person or whatever. That's what he seems to lament throughout this whole thing. Like every time we have sex, it's missionary and that's it and blah blah blah. And it's like trying to come to terms with, you know, not every woman's going to be.
Well, especially given his addiction to
He's
pornography.
addicted to porn and everything. That's-
Yeah.
But
And I
see,
mean,
if you want to make a movie about being addicted to porn and it affecting your sex life or your romance life, do you really go this hard into comedy and cartoonish accents? Because I feel like you rob yourself of any chance to make an impact, right? That's
No.
what was off-putting for me, was it felt like I want to make a statement, but I really want to make you laugh, and so I'm going to kind of be both.
it seems like the comedies is front loaded too.
Right.
And you're right, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his acting and his accents typically frustrate me and take me like Looper was the same way. Like it just even some of the
Tony
stuff.
Danza's in this movie, and he sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, ScarJo, I don't think can really pull off that Jersey accent either. And yeah, you're right. You're right. But I think the thematic elements of this, and especially Julianne Moore coming in like halfway.
If you really,
through
really
or so.
like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, then you probably have already seen it, but it's probably worth a watch.
Yeah.
All right, now next one on the list is The Dream Team. This is the one where Michael Keaton is like in a mental hospital of some sort or whatever, and there's like he's got his three buddies and they're going out for the first time in forever. As, you know,
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in forever.
I used to watch the shit out of this movie. We had it on VHS, so it was 1989, and yeah, he's. The psychiatrist is like, I'm going to take these guys out and get them some air. I think he actually takes them to a Yankees game, so it's a little New York.
Yeah.
But and then they get lost, and he gets incapacitated. So Michael Keaton has to take over this band of misfits. One of the guys thinks he's Jesus, so he ends up at a black church and leading a revival and stuff like that.
Nice. Nice.
Until they expose him as a fraud. But it's interesting because it's got Christopher Lloyd in here, who famously portrayed a mentally ill patient in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say Taxi.
Yeah, we're Back to
Yeah.
the Future.
Back to the Future too. Peter Boyle's in this. This is a fun movie. It's Michael Keaton like a leading man, Mr. Mom style, like still hilarious and still manic, but not as untethered as like a Beetlejuice or something like that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Oh, it's a great movie. I totally recommend it.
Do you like it too?
Dream Team?
Awesome.
Fuck yeah.
I don't think I would have expected those words to come out of your mouth.
Sorry, it was introduced to me by Josh Childs, and at an era where if we liked something, we watched it over and over and quoted it all the time. This was one of those movies. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Then there's The Family Man. We were talking about Nicolas Cage earlier. This-
Terrible It's a Wonderful Life ripoff.
Yeah.
And it's Brett Ratner.
And it's
Yeah.
Téa Leoni. She's good.
Yeah.
But it's basically, I mean, there's not a single beat in this movie that you haven't seen before, and It's a Wonderful Life. Guy wishes for some other life, then he gets to experience it, realize how shitty it is, and then he wishes for his old life back.
Well, no,
What's
it's
he
the
fucking
opposite.
do?
It's the opposite.
Well,
They're trying
it's
to-
the
yeah.
same.
Isn't
totally
it?
is.
Isn't it kind of like what's that Mr. Destiny that came out a few years where instead of striking out in the big game, he finds out what would have happened if he had hit the home run.
Oh.
And then he sees his life as that, as what would have happened then. This is the same sort of deal, right? Where he sees what would have happened if he had married Téa Leoni, or
Yeah, it's what would happen if like he had spent more time with his family and stuff like that, because he's like a fast-paced business. It's basically Click.
Yeah, it's Click.
Click a Wonderful Life.
Really,
it's 4 years before Click or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's Click.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. I don't remember a thing about it.
No, it's
I remember
not
the
really
trailer, kind of.
It's got Don Cheadle as like the dude.
As the
guy
dude.
The dude buds.
The dude that causes all of this mishmash to happen.
Then there's Friday the 13th, the original in part 2. Camp Crystal Lake is in New Jersey.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. That first Friday the 13th is a piece of shit.
It really is, right?
I mean, obviously the second one is too, but like that first one, like it's amazing it became as much of a cult hit as it did.
I can watch the second one a lot more than
it's because Jason is finally a part of it.
Right.
Like the first one is the mom, and she's playing it so hammy. Like I can't remember what the story is on this. This is something where Jonathan would be great to have here, but I think she either thought she was in a comedy. Or she thought she was doing the best performance ever. And when she saw the movie, she was like, oh, this sucks or whatever. But yeah, like, kill her, mommy, kill her. Like, good God, I can't stand that shit. But Friday the 13th, one of the many a long line of slashers that became super popular in the 80s. And this was just, it started off cheaply like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all those movies.
Why do you think it did catch on? Do you think it didn't catch on until part 2 when Jason became Jason?
I think that I think that these movies are so cheap to make that when they make double their money back or whatever it is, that this one, the first Friday the 13th, probably made way more than its budget. That coming out with sequels is just natural, and then you have that slow building cult following. By the time it gets to 1987 or whatever, where he's taking Manhattan and shit.
Yeah, you guys don't realize this if you didn't grow up in the 80s, but there was a long time where movie franchises that did too many sequels, if you were making that joke, you were making it about horror movies. Almost exclusively. Because it was Friday the 13th, it was Nightmare on Elm Street. The horror movies were the ones that kept doing over and over and over. Halloween.
Yeah.
Now, of course, any movie that makes more than twice its budget will be sequel green.
And now now it's like, instead of trying to make, they still kind of make quickie sequels to everything, but now movies get into the 7s and 8s and all that. Yeah. And it's not nobody bats an eye about that type of stuff. Back in the day, it's like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Then there is Garden State. This was Zach Braff's directorial debut.
Yeah.
He stars in it with Natalie Portman.
What do we think about this?
I think we all hyped it a little much when it came out, but now we're all underhyping it a little too much.
Exactly
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it came out and we were all like, holy shit, the next great American filmmaker. And when really we should have said, what a quaint, enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
And now we're all like, what a piece of shit. Because we're so ashamed of ourselves for overhyping it.
Yeah.
That there's, honestly, you wouldn't want to spend much time on Reddit if you're a huge Zach Braff fan.
Oh, really?
At least after the Kickstarter where he made the movie and then sold it to an investor for millions and everybody got mad at him. Up until then, I think Scrubs he was skating by on. But as a filmmaker, I don't think he has the respect anymore.
By the way, that whole thing never bothered me. That whole Kickstarter thing and everything. People came out of the woodwork on that because they were like, "You're rich. Why can't you just go ahead and make it?" Movies cost a lot of fucking money,
yeah, no
man.
shit, man.
I mean, just because you might have $10 million in the bank or something like that doesn't mean you're ready to spend half of it on a movie,
right?
And I can't remember if I saw that movie or not, but it didn't get very good reviews or whatever when it came out.
Oh, is it? I'm not here. But
Wish I was here.
I wish I was here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not as great as he thinks it is, but it's not bad.
Garden State is one of those. The trailer is amazing.
It really is.
And I remember really wanting to see this after the trailer and the movie itself. Again, I think exactly what Jeremy just said. It was overhyped, and we went way too far in the other direction, calling it bad when it's got it's good. It's a solid,
Yep.
I wouldn't turn it off if it was just like
I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crack.
That's right.
I actually just saw this again fairly recently, like in the last month or so. And I was surprised because I hadn't seen it, I don't think, since it came out. And I was exactly like what you were saying. I was like, oh, this is so disappointing because I religiously watched Scrubs. I love Zach Braff. Trailer blew me away, exactly what you were saying. And I was totally underwhelmed. Like, I thought it was a little artificial. I thought it was too muted, especially relative to Zach Braff's performances normally. But yeah, watching it again, I'm like, I should have given this another shot because this dude is totally repressed. The Ian Holm character is subtly like just, suffocating this guy. And it takes a Natalie Portman to get you ahead of yourself.
And there's some clever shots in here too. Like the one that I think everybody remembers is when he's walking away in the bathroom and all of the motion sensor sinks come on one at a time as he's walking past the row of sinks. But there was a visual flair at work too. And again, great music choice for the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, the Shins.
There's more talent there. I would have expected his directing career to have taken off more.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't this movie also sort of criticized for having the pixie dream girl syndrome with Natalie Portman? Wasn't it one of the first to be picked on for that?
I mean, probably so. It's got to be right around there because she's there to facilitate his happiness basically. And she's perfect in every way. And all right, listen, sometimes movies are going to have that, and it's not necessarily a detriment to it. This is worth checking out. Even if you didn't like it the first time, check it out again. I think you'll probably enjoy it more.
Yeah, and then there's Guess Who, which was the remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. It had Zoe Saldana and Ashton Kutcher in it. Not very good.
No.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is a great movie, and this one, this was the racially swapped one,
right?
Where she's bringing him home to dinner, and it's a black woman instead of a white woman bringing a black man home and all that. But yeah, this wasn't very good at all. And of course it came out in 2005.
That sucks, man. Bernie Mac is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Zoe Saldana is great. I get Ashton Kutcher with him. Like him, the way he is
with his hisness,
with his Ashton Kutcher.
Why are you like that? What do you mean? The way you are.
I'm not on. I don't think. Besides, Dude, Where's My Car or that '70s show, I'm not signing off on any Ashton Kutcher movie. I don't think.
Yeah,
not the Steve Jobs one.
No,
but all the rest of them have just been terrible rom-coms. I'm not sure he's even done much.
He did that Butterfly Effect movie, right?
That's actually enjoyable. You can watch that movie. They made 2 sequels, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, he was in a lot of these What Happens in Vegas, and he was in
Just Married.
Valentine's Day.
There are a lot of those shit. Then there's Happiness, the Todd Solondz movie. Good.
Ironically named.
Yes, it is ironically named because this is some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I just put a big do not bother on this one. Just don't even bother. Like, what are we going for here? Aren't there other movies he's made that you could watch to get something out of?
Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Yeah, which will be later on. But this movie, I think, might be... I'm glad I watched it once. I will never watch it again.
I guess I'd rather watch this than storytelling again, but he just... it's like he wants his viewers to hate themselves when they're done watching his movies.
Yeah,
and if that's the goal, bravo, sir.
Yeah, you have Philip Seymour Hoffman who jerks off on the pictures and sticks them onto his wall.
Well, he does the what is that thing where you call and make an inappropriate remark and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah,
sexual prank calls basically,
right?
And that's how he gets his jollies off.
And Dylan Baker is he's an awful human being.
Yes, he is.
Oh. And they play it up for not that he should be thrown into a prison and throw away the key. Or anything.
As he should, yeah.
They don't play him like that, though.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's just a devastating thing with his son later on in the movie.
So, yeah, probably don't watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, fucked up.
It is.
Then there's Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle and Very Harold and Kumar Christmas.
I love these movies.
Yeah,
I
they're fun.
unapologetically love these
They
movies.
don't do any New Jersey during the Guantanamo Bay episode?
No, they end up in Texas. Remember, they run
I know,
into,
they smoke weed with George W.,
Yeah.
but they don't start out. Anyway, I don't care. The first one's enjoyable enough, but none of these movies are great.
I think the Christmas one is actually a lot of fun.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever saw the Christmas one. I
That's
definitely
funny.
saw the first two. But Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, and it says, it's your typical stoner dude where's my car type movie, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
It is, but man, you got to give this series credit for having two main minority characters and not even referencing it, hardly at all. I mean,
Yeah.
externally, maybe somebody calls it out, but like it's just these are two normal dudes, and they're not playing into stereotypes, except for like Kumar's dad wants him to go to medical school and stuff like that. But like, it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's just funny stuff, man.
and the first one introduced us to Malin Ackerman for the most part.
Oh,
too.
wow. And Neil Patrick.
And Neil Patrick
Neil
Harris.
Patrick
Neil
Harris.
Patrick Harris actually does owe a lot to his second wind. To
Absolutely.
This movie.
I
I mean,
think
that's
so,
Barney is basically this character, right?
Yeah. I mean, he had that undercover brother like cameo
Yeah.
or whatever, and then he was in this, and he was like, they made his character into this like big womanizing, type of character, like he's always doing fucking star baller shit, and then that translated into him having How I Met Your Mother. That's how he got that was through that. So
Which is hilarious. The two, I guess, in his adult career, the two main characters that he's known for are these super Lothario womanizer thing. Then he comes out as gay,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is so awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then we have Hellboy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is I like this. Okay.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like this movie. I think a lot.
Yeah.
I actually like the second movie too, but man, it was very cool because it's such a silly premise. Ron Perlman looks ridiculous. I wasn't familiar with the comics at all with this beforehand. The trailer looked interesting, but also like just basically like a superhero thing. I was surprised how much I liked this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is Guillermo del Toro.
They're remaking it with David Harbour. I guess it's like next year it's coming out maybe.
Yeah.
Hellboy is one of those. I wish he could. I mean, Shape of Water is probably one of the closest ones, and maybe Pan's Labyrinth. But I wish he could sort of focus on one thing or the other. Hellboy is like way too much visuals and stuff to me. Just like that's the. It's not a terribly interesting story. I don't think.
I mean,
Other than
the premise itself is so weird. Like he's this supernatural being that's helping the FBI.
Yeah.
And that there's this Bureau of Paranormal Affairs and stuff like that. This is, I think, what like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen should have been. Like, this team of superheroes, all of which are weird looking, not just like regular Justice League humanoid, people that get together, Avengers. They're all weird and they're all quirky, and you got David Hyde Pierce and you got Ron Perlman, you got Selma Blair, and I don't know. I think I'm overrating it because of my expectations for it.
I think I like I said, I like it. I don't know if I've ever gotten to that point of really loving it or anything. Then there's IQ. I think I saw this it was the 94 Tim Robbins movie where, who is it that's Einstein in this?
Walter
Is it Walter
Matthau.
Matthau, right?
Matthau.
And then, Meg Ryan is in
It's
it.
adorable.
It's cute as fuck.
It is.
It's one of those movies that I watched a bunch because no one saw it, but I had seen it and liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And so my memory thinks it's great when it's just good. I'm sure it's just good, but it's not. You're not going to be mad at yourself or me if you watch this movie. It's charming. Tim Robbins is playing this doofus idiot. And it's fun watching Einstein and his 3 or 4 old guy genius buddies as they sort of comment on this romance that's budding, and they're trying to play matchmaker. It's just adorable. And I would highly recommend it.
Stephen Fry's in this.
Who?
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry.
As the standoffish, not really an asshole boyfriend to Meg Ryan, but he's just like aloof.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get it. He's funny as hell.
Then there's Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh boy.
Oh man, I don't think I did end up seeing this movie.
I saw it.
Yeah,
I don't remember a thing about it.
Yeah.
Just that it was bad.
Wasn't this also based on a Philip K. Dick?
Oh, probably. Sounds about right.
William Gibson.
William Gibson.
But yeah, it's Canoe, and I believe Dolph Lundgren is in this, and this was his final role until The Expendables.
Oh, really?
Yes. I guess he took time off to get his PhD or whatever the fuck he did.
Well, he did do some shit
He
like
did
that.
something like that.
But no, I don't remember anything about it. It is a sort of a punchline type movie, though, because back in the day, at least, anyway, especially when The Matrix came out, where I think people were like, "What, Johnny Mnemonic?" And what?
Yep.
Like, is this really going to be good?
It's an interesting premise. Like he's a courier. He stores stuff in his brain and stuff like that. But like the effects just weren't there. They weren't ready for it yet.
Yeah.
And it's Canoe playing like a non-Neo character that you're supposed to care about, and I don't care. about Johnny.
Then there's Just Friends. This is actually pretty good.
Did you like this?
Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris and Amy Smart.
He's not fat anymore?
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
I think my titles are always better than that.
Yeah,
It's actually Central Intelligence.
He's like Ryan Reynolds, and he's not that. He's not fat anymore. I remember liking this, but I don't remember too much other than what you just said.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I remember it being pretty good. Then The Last Broadcast. This movie came out before Blair Witch Project.
I still haven't watched this. I really want to see this.
It's a found footage. There's a guy who comes in and he's like he's a documentarian type of filmmaker guy, and like he's talking about the Jersey Devil. And they're talking about this local access show that where these two friends started it, and they were having fun and everything, and then they were losing ratings or whatever, and whatever you can get in local access, I guess. And they thought one thing they could do is go out into the woods and try to find the Jersey Devil. So that was their whole thing. So like footage was coming, had shown up at this guy's door or somebody's door or whatever like that. And some of it was just damaged enough that they couldn't tell what had happened in some of the stuff. But the story being told here is they're trying to make these shows and try to find the Jersey Devil, but they do end up getting killed. So they're trying to find out, was it the Jersey Devil? Was it somebody else? Was it was it the friend? Blah, blah, blah. So that's what this guy's doing. He's going through this, and he has to try to figure out if he can get this film restored that's missing the obvious piece that they need to find out what happened and everything, and has a great ending.
How does this happen where this genre is essentially not done at all, and then all of a sudden this comes out in 98, and then a very similar thing comes out, Phenomenon, in 1999.
Yeah.
Do you think there's not enough time to have any influence?
I don't know. I mean, the Blair Witch Project had been a thing, like a VHS had been passed around on it well before it came out.
Yep. That's how I watched it.
Yeah, it's how I watched it
Yeah.
too. It was the first time I ever saw it.
I got it from Russell.
Yeah, Russell. Russell was the guy who gave it to us. But that was sort of its viral marketing tool almost. I don't know if they meant for it to be that, but it certainly helped because people were talking about how scary it was. And it was one of the first times, we're talking about Blair Witch Project now, but it was one of the first times they made a website and made it look like it was real. And, this was a real case, and like, oh, they found footage from it. Like, that's crazy. You might actually see real people getting murdered. But the Last Broadcast, had come out the year before. I don't know where when one team on Blair Witch Project decided to make their movie or what.
That's just wild.
They always talked about In Search Of, that TV show, like Bigfoot and all that. That's what they were inspired by and everything. And it's not the same in any real way. The Last Broadcast doesn't spend time with the subjects that are in the found footage too much. It's mostly this documentary filmmaker, and it's just him just sort of wondering what happened and everything. Whereas Blair Witch Project's very obviously like, here's what they shot, and here we edited the film for you, you know? It's a very, very low budget movie. It is, I don't know if it's even good. but it is a fascinating movie, and I think it's well worth watching, especially for the ending. The ending's kind of cool.
Cool.
Then there is Lean on Me. Morgan Freeman. This is where Morgan Freeman sort of became like known to everybody. He had an Oscar nomination before this, but Lean on Me, his Principal Joe Clark character,
Crazy Joe.
Yeah. They used to call me Crazy Joe, and now they call me Batman. Goes into a school that's just so like it's the fucking Wild West in this school, man.
It is,
like
man.
people are just bringing guns and knives and shit into this place and selling drugs and everything. And so like, he has to go through that, I guess this is something that would happen, right? Somebody wants to clean up the school. And there would be concerned parents out there that are thinking he's too mean.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And that there's other things in there that he really wishes he could do, like put chains on the door so drug dealers can't come in, but you can't do that because of the fire code and all that type of stuff. I don't know how people look at this movie in this era though.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Do you consider it? I'd consider it good.
Oh, sure. No, I loved this movie back in the day when I used to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, his methods were probably in modern day may not be considered great. I mean, he expels a bunch of people when he first gets there, and it's worth it. The ending I remember being really, really cool too.
Yeah,
because he's trying to raise the academic standards to like that's his focus, and that's what I dig about this movie is that he's not like trying to make these people better people. I mean, he is, but doing it in a very specific way. I'm going to raise our academic standards to where we pass on this certain level or whatever it is. And once they inevitably do, it's such a satisfying feeling,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This I really like Lean on Me. Like I said, I don't think you can really get away with some of the stuff he does, but you kind of root for him to go through all that.
Michelle Pfeiffer's great in that movie.
Well, I was saying my favorite part is when he turns the chair
So is
around.
Hilary Swank. Hilary Swank is amazing.
Sam Jackson, he has a great scene.
Yeah, those that whole thing with the Russian roulette at the end of the movie.
Oh man. Oh.
So then there's Lockup.
Oh.
This is a Stallone prison movie that is not Escape Plan.
No.
Yeah. He's had a lot of prison movies.
He
Tango
has.
and Cash he goes to prison.
Tango Cash
Tango
go
Cash
to prison.
Go to prison.
Let's go to prison.
So I guess he's had at least 3.
I've never seen Lockup though.
I haven't either.
No, Lockup is when it's a similar to like a Con Air situation where he's supposed to be getting out, but the warden is pissed off at him, so he figures out a way to keep him in, and he's pissed off
By
about
locking him up.
By locking.
Yes.
This movie sucks
says it in
ass.
the title. Wow. Then there's The Long Kiss Goodnight. This is a movie written by Shane Black and directed by Rennie Harlan, and it's fun as fuck.
Yes.
Really it's not good. Let's not go there. But it is fun as fuck. And maybe it's good. It's not great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have everybody here is in on the joke in just the right amount. You know what I mean? Like Gina Davis is playing it just seriously enough, and Sam Jackson's playing it just goofy enough that it really works. It's kind of a wonder. You watch a movie like this, and you can see so much Shane Blackness, and because I keep hearing worse and worse stuff about this new Predator movie.
Yeah,
have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, no.
And you wonder how it went so wrong when there's clearly so much talent, seemingly every time he's involved with a project.
Yeah. I always wonder about stuff like this in Iron Man 3, and we've talked about it before. How much does he really control on that set? How much if he made Predator like he made Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or something like that, would it be such nutty fun that we'd forgive anything that was bad about it? This is probably half and half, right?
Yes.
So I just wonder if that, maybe the studio isn't giving him free reign to do whatever he wants to on those type of movies.
He's got a good track record, though.
Yeah,
Let him do whatever the
that's
fuck he
studio
wants.
should watch the nice guys.
You know what they're doing though. This is not true proof, but this is how they show proof in Hollywood, right? Here's how much money Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and the Nice Guys made. Here's how much Iron Man 3 made.
Yep.
You're gonna follow what we want to do on this, right?
They don't look at critical reception when they're making those decisions.
Yeah.
It's all dollars and cents.
Yeah. Then there is Masters of the Universe.
Oh,
The fuck?
Jersey?
It's in Jersey and Eternia.
Oh my God.
I never saw this movie, and I'm
What?
glad. I never
never
got
did
into
either.
He-Man.
I
shit.
got into He-Man and I never saw this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I was so disappointed.
This is like live action, right?
No, it's live action.
Oh,
It's Dolph
God.
Lundgren as He-Man. Frank Langella as Skeletor.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus
Fuck
Christ.
me.
And it
Frank.
involves some sort of like kid having like a magic egg or something like that they have to transport from Eternia to New Jersey, and Skeletor follows him, and there's Orko, and there's fucking like
Who plays Orko?
fucking Willow.
Oh,
Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing if it really was him.
But no, yeah. I mean, there's Beast Man and fucking Sorceress and Evil Lyn and Tila and Man at Arms.
Yeah,
I was so disappointed in
but
this movie.
this is considered one of the worst movies of all time,
It's
right?
so awful. It was 1987, so I was 8 when I saw it, or I was 7 when I saw it, and I was like, man, I am so into He-Man. I am jacked for this movie, and it was like the first time in my young life that I was super disappointed in a movie.
Did they have previews of this movie during the cartoon? Because I watched the
I
cartoon.
don't think so.
I watched the cartoon a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't remember this movie ever coming out until like much later in life when people were talking about how bad it was.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
it's amazing
It's a
that
scuzzy movie.
maybe I watched He-Man, but I just ignored commercials. Maybe that's possible. You know, who knows?
I don't remember it being on there, but it's gross. It's
He-Man
scuzzy.
being a commercial in and of itself.
Exactly.
Then we have Nothing But Trouble, which I did see this.
Man,
This is a bad movie.
this is a really bad movie. And
Yeah.
with that cast, I don't know how it's that
Oh,
bad.
wait. This is James L. Brooks, isn't it?
No, this is Dan Aykroyd actually directed
that
this.
was I Love Trouble.
I Love Trouble. I'm confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing But Trouble had like Candy and it had Demi Moore and was it Dan Aykroyd?
Well, yeah, he was
Oh.
playing like this aged up thing, but Chevy Chase was the main character in this.
Oh, Chevy Chase was the main guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those early movies when I was 14 that I realized sucked.
Yeah.
like movies like this should be like right up my alley at 14, and
Yeah.
it wasn't. It's got a 4.9 on the IMDb.
Oh, it's so bad. They get somehow Chevy Chase and Demi Moore like get chased out of Manhattan or something like that, and they end up in this random town in New Jersey, and like it's just weird shit, and it's not funny,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like satisfying in any way.
Yeah. Then there's On the Waterfront, which is obviously a great movie. Early podcast, I said I haven't seen this. I have since seen this. But this is great. This is Marlon Brando, like at just peak. This is
probably the
game
best-
changing.
Yeah, this is probably the best performance he's ever had.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched this probably the first time 2 months ago. But getting to that iconic scene and everything, it was there's something about knowing about a scene and then that scene just comes up and everything. There's some anticipation that you have for it, but yeah, On the Waterfront is very good.
Well, we were talking just the two of us like about how everything, because when The Crucible came up a few podcasts ago, you mentioned the allegory about the McCarthyism and stuff like that, and this is Elia Kazan's response to that, essentially, because he named names.
Yep.
And he's basically, this is his justification movie.
Yeah. And when you add that to it.
Yeah. It's a whole different experience, because this is a great movie, even like The Crucible, I thought. At least it's a great play. This is a great movie even without that context. With that context, this will blow your mind, because honestly, like, you'll be a little bit conflicted by it, because am I in this guy's corner?
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact thing that I was feeling by the end of it, because I was like, wait a minute.
Because you're totally in the corner of Marlon Brando's character.
Yeah.
But you're not in Elia Kazan's corner necessarily.
No. Then there is Paul Blart Mall Cop. Isn't just saying the title enough?
Yes, let's move on.
Okay. The perfect score. Okay, so I saw this back when it came out. This is Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
They're trying to like rob a teacher of his like score test, like pass tests or something like that. Or is
It's
it
for the SAT?
It's the SAT.
Yeah.
You know what? The only thing I remember about this, and this is going to sound pervy, but I've actually back even when I first watched this, I thought that's kind of bad. They like do an upskirt shot of Scarlett Johansson in this.
Really?
Yeah, like it's under her desk, and the camera then just moves up to her face, and I was like, even though I like Scarlett Johansson a lot and want to see her naked and all this other type of stuff, not this way. Like it made me feel so gross, when it came up and everything.
Yeah.
But that's all I really remember
When
about
did this come out?
It's like 2004, I think.
I was going to say, it's got to be pre-Marvel
Yeah,
stuff,
this was
but it sounds like a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a January. Yeah, it's interesting. They've got Captain America and Black Widow together.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard is in this.
Mhm.
It was
So Captain America, Black Widow, and Shaggy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like a prototypical 21 type of thing where it's a bunch of students getting together and doing some sort of caper, but it doesn't land. I forgot about that scene, the upskirting scene.
Yeah, Erica Christensen's in this too.
Yes, she is.
But yeah, that was just one of those weird things. Like, what's the point of that shot? And why did she agree to that shot?
The director's like, okay, we're going to start down here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You're
go
wearing a skirt. Don't worry. We're not going to even point it towards that. Then there's The Purple Rose of Cairo. This is a good Woody Allen movie.
Do you like this?
Yeah.
I hate this movie.
You hate it?
I hate this movie.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the minority, but
Okay.
for whatever reason, I hate
Well, this
movie.
is one of those where it's a precursor to like Last Action Hero and stuff like that, where the film characters come to life out of the screen, and everything. Jeff Daniels is in it.
And Mia Farrow, the
I think
main
Mia
person?
Farrow is probably in this too. I haven't seen it forever.
Isn't this a common title format? The color flower of place, like the yellow rose of Texas, the red, the purple rose, whatever of Cairo.
What's the next one?
Shut up, dick. Why don't you just laugh and go with the joke? The red rose of. I'm sure there's more.
No, I think
me?
you're right. Like every time they have to do like a color flower of something, it's got to be
Of a
of
place.
some city or whatever. And like,
I
yeah,
hate you.
but yeah, Jeff Daniels.
the green orchid of
I'm gonna Google so hard when I get home.
Jeff-
I'm gonna
Jeff-
find some obscure shit and prove your eyes wrong.
But yeah, Jeff Daniels steps out of the screen and he's living life on the outside. And meanwhile, the movie lives in its own thing too.
Yeah.
Where it's existing without him. And they keep wanting him to come back, I think, is what the big thing is. And then maybe somebody else, I can't even remember if somebody else jumps out of the screen.
There's some sort of interaction. Either somebody jumps into the screen or out of the screen. But this is maybe the first Woody Allen movie that I've seen without Woody Allen in it.
Yeah.
Like starring in it. And I don't know.
I like it. Barrett hates it. And Barrett's a big Woody Allen fan.
And
so-
Jeremy's never seen it.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to make a title joke.
It's a very unusual Woody Allen type of movie.
Yeah. It has a 7.7 on the IMDb.
I'm telling you, I'm wrong. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Then there's Runner. I never saw this. I'm a poker guy, but I never saw this. And it's Justin Timberlake
Yeah, Timbo
and
and Ben Affleck.
What movie?
Runner.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah. It's right up your alley.
It's right up my alley. It's
Yeah, I
totally
like it.
trashy, forgettable.
Yeah.
Affleck's phoning it in.
It totally is.
Timberlake's phoning it in, but trying a little harder than Affleck. And it's basically like he goes down to the Caribbean and he's doing some kind of scam with
Using like poker analytics and stuff
poker.
like that.
Yeah, it was pretty forgettable.
Because Brian
Yeah.
Koppelman actually wrote it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then there's See No Evil, Hear No Evil. That's the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie. I've never seen this.
Oh, man. I used to love these guys. Like,
I mean,
stir
Richard
crazy.
Pryor was the very definition of off limits in my family, so I never saw any.
Even
of this.
these PG, because these were all PG too.
See
It's
No
the
Evil,
same
Hear-
thing he was talking about earlier, though. Is that Richard Pryor had this reputation?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
being
sure See No
R-rated.
Evil, Hear No Evil was rated R, though.
What?
What? I'm just a cat, and I'm doing cat stuff. What?
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah.
How the fuck did I see this movie?
I don't know.
It doesn't feel like an R-rated movie. It's.
I mean, it could just be like a few fucks sprinkled into the movie. And
It must be
that's
because
enough.
I don't remember it being. It's Richard Pryor is blind and Gene Wilder is deaf, and that's the whole scene. And so, with their powers combined, kind of like the Ables, they make their way through all these situations and everything. And man, those two, like I mentioned, stir crazy, and they were in at least one or two more movies together.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. They had such perfect comic timing with each other.
And they were
I
supposed
dug
to be in Blazing Saddles.
Oh, that's right.
together,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But
What was it right after he like had to be hospitalized or something like
I
that?
don't remember why Pryor couldn't take that.
Maybe the studio didn't trust him or whatever.
It could be something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were supposed to be in that together. Then there's Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. I've talked about this before. I really like this movie. This is Steve Carell and Keira Knightley. One of those, the world is definitely going to end. Everybody knows when it's going to end. So let's have this last, adventure type of thing. And, Carell is divorced from his wife, and Keira Knightley is she like breaking up with a guy, or I can't remember what she's doing, but they get in a car and he needs to go to see his wife and say one last thing to her or something like that. But they have this adventure on the way. I don't know. I've always liked these type of movies, even Melancholia, which is like as depressing as it gets. The movie Last Night, which has the same sort of premise and everything. I've always thought even though it's been done many times.
Yeah.
I find the premise endearing every
There's
time.
a movie called, I think it's 333 or something like that, with Willem Dafoe that is like a last night type of thing that I think you'd like. I caught it way late at night one night, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But it was that similar premise. I'm with you. Melancholia, I think, is really, really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for what that is.
Right. Then there's Snake Eyes. This was Brian De Palma. And
It's fucking bonkers,
this
man.
trailer was awesome. I was so geeked up for this movie. It was right after he did Mission Impossible. And this is Nicolas Cage is in this one too, but oh my God, I was so geeked for this movie. The trailer was so badass and everything. And then that movie is fucking terrible, man.
It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
It makes you. There are De Palma moments and shots where you're like, this was filmed by a master, but somewhere it's like half the shit they shot just got lost or deleted or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
There was this idea that I thought, especially from the trailer, which was all like, it was almost like a look closer type thing, whatever, where I thought there was going to be something like sort of in the background that was important, or like, like he was going to put all these pieces together in one. It really doesn't, that mystery never becomes a big thing in this movie.
No.
It's, I think he figures it out pretty quickly, and then it's all chasing and shooting. And
Well, there's that. Yeah. I mean,
Gary Sinise is in it.
Yeah.
Carla Gugino.
Yeah, Carla Gugino. But yeah, there's like a whole thing where he finds out that the boxer took a dive.
Yeah.
And so like then he has to, I mean,
I just happened upon that scene at the bar where Cage is going over the top and like, pouring drinks for everybody, and like I forget what he says, but he is so fucking manic.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny, after watching that video explaining his mannerisms and stuff like that, he calls himself the California Klaus Kinski.
Oh.
Multiple times in that video.
Oh my God.
And so he's doing this on purpose. He's doing all these manic mannerisms, vampire's kiss, snake eyes, all that shit on purpose.
Oh my.
And expressionistic is what he said. He wants to be like more like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and stuff like that. Knowing that, it's more interesting, I guess. But he is way the fuck over the top in this.
This movie opens up on it's probably a fake 20-minute opening shot.
Is it 20 minutes?
It's something like that.
It's pretty long.
I remember building this movie, and the first reel, which is usually 17 to 20 minutes, is all that first shot.
Wow.
But it could be one of those where they're cutting parts here or there. Somebody walks in front of the camera, that type of shit. Then there's Sour Grapes. I never saw this.
This is not the only reason this is interesting is A, I've seen it, and B, it was directed by Larry David.
Yeah.
This is Craig Bierko and Steven Weber as cousins that get into they're at Atlantic City, and one of them asks to borrow like a quarter, and he ends up hitting a slot machine that it gives him $1 million, and it's a question of like who owns this.
Honestly, if that movie hadn't been made, the original title for Sideways was going to be Sour Grapes.
Did I say Larry Miller, by the way, or did I say Larry
I think you
David?
said Larry David.
You said Larry David.
Then there's The Station Agent. This is very good. This is Peter Dinklage before Game of Thrones.
Fucking love this movie
And
so
Bobby
much.
Cannavale.
Oh, yeah.
And Michelle
Before
Williams.
that movie.
Before that thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That
This movie
thing
is so
we
good.
know him from. No, Patricia Clarkson's in it, and I don't remember Michelle. Oh, Michelle Williams is in this. But yeah, this is a really good movie.
God damn. I mean, this movie blew me away in like how simple it is and how touching it is, how awesome Bobby Cannavale is. Like he's have you seen this?
Yeah.
He's so gregarious and just genuinely funny and genuinely kind that he breaks through the shell that Peter Dinklage has rightfully built for himself. He's lost his only support. And so watching that relationship develop is so fucking great, man.
Tom McCarthy
Yeah.
wrote and directed this. He did Spotlight.
Yeah.
And of course he was in The Wire.
Oh, wow. What a career that guy's had.
Yeah, he has. He sort of sneaks up on you with some of these things. Like he did The Visitor as well, that Richard Jenkins movie. The movie Win-Win he also did.
Oh, well, that'll be on there.
I never saw The Cobbler, which was that Adam Sandler movie that came out. But he's had a pretty good writing directing career.
Yeah.
And being on The Wire instantly makes you like a...
Yeah.
Then there's Swim Fan. Talk about Erica Christensen.
I almost made a Swim Fan joke when you said her name.
Yeah.
She
I
is
can't
a
believe
fan of
this.
swimming.
To this day, I can't believe this movie was made with this title.
Yeah.
You could, if you want to make the movie as it stands, you have to call it something else.
Yeah.
And you have to call it something about stalking the high school athlete of the century.
Needs to be like Dark Waters.
But Swim Fan, exactly. Swim Fan sounds like a sci-fi original.
Yeah,
it
it
sounds
does.
like a parody of this kind of movie.
This stars Jesse Bradford, who's he's a guy that I thought might be big there for a while too. But he's got a girlfriend. I think who's the girlfriend in this? It says Sherry Appleby.
Yep.
Like Erica Christensen's like this girl obsessed with him and everything, and like seduces him in the pool, and she's like,
Because she's a swim fan.
yeah. She's like, she starts making out with him, and he doesn't want. It's like disclosure, right? Like he doesn't want Erica Christensen
That's right.
like kissing him and stuff, and then she's like while they're like just before they fuck, she's like, tell me that you love me. And I'm like, dude, nothing would have shriveled my boner faster.
No kidding. No kidding.
You don't stick your dick in crazy.
Oh my God.
Then there's The Toxic Avenger. That is a Troma movie. Isn't that their like flagship?
Yeah.
It wasn't their first, was it?
I think Toxic Crusader may have. No, this was the first one.
Was it
because
their
this
first?
is where he gets radioactive and all that stuff. And then Toxic Crusader was the one after this.
I never saw Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I've seen like even more than 5 seconds of a Tron.
For me,
movie.
Toxic Avenger is Avengers Age of Ultron. Zing!
That is a Toxic Avenger for
That's
sure.
right. Hey-o!
Yeah, it's got cult status and stuff like that because it's, gross stuff and there's a little bit of camp and there's a lot of camp and humor in there. But
Yeah.
It's not good.
War of the Worlds, you are talking about the Spielberg one, right? This is, War of the Worlds is another one of those.
Oh, because he lives in Jersey. So
Yeah.
the first 30 minutes are Jersey, and then
No.
they start driving.
Well, yeah, but I think it's essentially all in Jersey. They're driving through Jersey to get away.
Oh. Well, don't they end up in Boston?
Oh, well, they run to Boston. They eventually get to Boston.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. So, yeah, there's enough New Jersey this counts. I like this movie more than most people.
You know what? The more I think about this movie, and I should watch it again, because I wasn't a huge fan, but I think you guys have maybe talked me into it. There's a lot to like in this movie.
That
opening
scene when the open. Go ahead.
Yeah, the opening of it is great, I think, and especially the little video camera thing where you see it through the viewfinder and everything. That's really cool. I think we've talked about this movie before. The whole Tim Robbins thing sort of takes me out of it.
Yep.
The movie's a little bit too long because of that and everything. Yeah, and then he's trying to get back to his son. They separate at some point. Is it Justin Chatwin that plays? Yep. Yeah, it's Justin Chatwin.
Tom Cruise can't throw a baseball.
Yeah, that
is one of the craziest things that I never would have noticed. But it became so memey that when you look at it, you're like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Probably the only funny thing about, I believe it was Scary Movie 4. Where it is. It's Craig Bierko. The son throws him the ball, he catches it, and he throws it back. It goes straight down into the ground.
He faked baseball just fine in A Few Good Men. What went wrong?
Yeah,
I don't know. I gotta go back and watch
he was
that.
just batting in that movie. He's like leading batting practice, so all he has to do is.
Isn't that weird though? We're all like sports people, so we don't really understand these guys who never really did sports when they were growing up and everything. Apparently, they had to do special effects in The Cable Guy for Jim Carrey to dribble in that.
Oh, wow.
What? Yeah, he couldn't dribble a basketball.
That's so funny.
They did special effects.
They had to get it to where it was like the ball bounced just right.
Oh, that's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And also makes sense because he's like 9 feet tall.
Yeah. But
That's one of the funniest, the loudest times that I've laughed was when he pulls down that and breaks the back.
Oh my God.
Because it's so unexpected. It may have been in the trailer, but for whatever reason, I forgot it. And when he goes up, like, it's funny enough, but then he makes that.
That's, if I was going to try and sell somebody on watching that movie, I'd show them that entire basketball scene.
So great.
Better warm up. Don't want to pull a hammy.
So War of the Worlds, I liked it, and I remember even giving a good review for it when I was writing reviews and crap. It's just that, there's some parts of it that I'm like, it keeps it from being that perfect movie or whatever. Then there's The Wedding Singer.
Oh, yeah. I think this is great.
Yeah, I do too.
Back before the tarnish started.
Who directed this? It wasn't.
The same person that was directing probably most of his movies at this point. Probably one of his friends.
Frank Karachi. Sorry.
I was like, can I try to take a stab at it? And I was going to say something like Greg Karachi or something like that.
You would have been close.
It's his brother.
Yeah.
His brother Frank. Frankie C.
Yeah, Frankie C. There is a guy he uses over and over again, though. The guy who did Mr. Deeds, the guy who directed Mr. Deeds, I think, is the guy he's done most of the stuff with. And he's done like 6, 7 of his movies.
This movie does suffer from that thing that a lot of romantic comedies suffer from, where they have to make the current boyfriend of Drew Barrymore like such an extreme asshole. You wonder why she would ever be with him in the first place, let alone about to marry him. But if you can overlook that, God, there's almost nothing to dislike about this movie.
Yeah.
It's charming, it's funny, it's got some musical Sandler. I mean, this was probably the last great Sandler
But
movie.
it all was bullshit.
You will listen to every single word I have to say.
Rapping Granny, that was
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been memed to death if there had been Twitter back in the day.
I love that running joke of the Boy George guy. Like every time he gets the mic, he gets to, do you want to hurt? Do you
Yeah.
want to hurt?
Yeah. That's Alexis Arquette.
That's
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, Wedding Singer's good. Sandler and Drew Barrymore have some good chemistry together. And 51st Dates was good too. And then they did that other bullshit movie that was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But those first two, those are delightful.
Yeah.
Then there's Welcome to the Dollhouse. We somewhat talked about that one. That's Heather Matarazzo.
Yeah, this is what you should watch instead of Happiness, because you'll get all of like the uncomfortableness of Todd Solondz, but not the ickiness.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ickiness in Happiness.
Yeah.
It should be called ickiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or happiness spelt backwards or something like that. Cinepa.
I'm surprised you got as close as you did there.
But yeah, Welcome to the Dollhouse is good. Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's and it's another. that's an unusual lead, Heather Matarazzo. You know,
She was 12, 13 at the time
was she
or something like that.
that young?
This put
character
her on the
was-
map for sure. I think this might have been her first role.
It may have been. It was, I think, his first movie.
It was.
And yeah, I watched this with really no knowledge of what to expect or anything like that, and found it really, really like heartfelt. And you can, especially if you've ever felt like a loner in high school or in middle school or stuff like that, this will really kind of get to you in uncomfortable ways and in good ways too.
Yeah. The Wrestler, there's another great movie there. That's Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm down with Aronofsky. Like I will follow him aside from Noah. I'll follow him pretty much wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Well, and Noah's another one of those where I'm pretty convinced the studio just meddled too much and blockbustered it up. And because when I think when Aronofsky is at his best is when he is edgy and he's pushing into darker corners and not blockbustery happy.
Well, I mean, when has he done that besides Noah?
No, that's pretty much the only one. And
Yeah.
I have a feeling Noah started out as a lot grittier. Because one thing that thematically, I feel like Aronofsky has repeated more than once is people who are just completely down. They're basically, rock bottom. The Wrestler, he's at the lowest point of his life, basically. And at one point, he was basically Hulk Hogan level of popular. And now he's living in a trailer park and he has no money. And Aronofsky's really good about showing us that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Noah started out, Noah was going to be like the Wrestler in terms of like beaten down, broken, and he just got gussied up too much. By the suits.
I like too just how he could take that life of just working the shitty job at the grocery store and all that and live, but none of that is anything that is him really.
Yeah.
And he's being told, don't ever go in the ring again. You're going to have a heart attack or some shit. And he's had 3 or 4 already. But that's where he truly is where he is truly living is in that he's willing to die for it to play. And it's not for like a huge amount of fame or money either.
No.
It's just that's his thing. That's what he likes doing. And that's what, I think that's one thing that a lot of times we don't understand why people do the things that they do and all that. Train Spotting is another movie that sort of covers that thing. Like, why do people do drugs? Because they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It
beats any fucking cock in the world.
It's that's in The Wrestler. That's his drug, basically. It's like it's the only place where he really likes to exist.
Yeah, he even has to take a gig doing one of those like unregulated, there's barbed wire being slapped against him and shit.
Staplers.
Yeah. Like he has to take that kind of a gig just to get that rush. I think you're right. When he's in the ring, however many people are watching, that's when he feels alive. And every other moment is, how do I get back to there?
Yeah.
God, I love The Wrestler.
Yeah,
I think it's I think it's Aronofsky's best movie.
Phenomenal.
Really? Yeah.
Did you ever see Mother?
No, I haven't seen Mother yet.
I want to talk to you about that movie after
But
you see it.
and I would put Black Swan up there pretty far too.
Yeah.
And Requiem for a Dream is pretty great, even though I hate watching it. But The Wrestler it's firing on all thrusters for me.
The Wrestler's probably like the easiest to watch. Although Mother is just
Yeah. Mother's a tough one to
I love it though.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
Yeah.
Then there's Zoolander 2. I never saw Zoolander.
Never saw it. I would rather watch Zoolander 1 20 times before watching Zoolander 2.
It's worse than Anchorman 2.
I've never seen Anchorman 2.
Anchorman 2 is awful.
Yeah.
And
It
this is even worse than that.
I will get to your honorable mention in a minute. Let's go through these these other movies real quick because I'm sure we haven't seen any of these. Most of these anyway. According to Greta, anybody seen that shit?
Nope.
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, which is Across the Eighth Dimension.
Yeah, that's the full title.
Yeah, that's a sequel to.
That's the original.
That's the original title.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw it.
It's got a big old cult following though.
I saw it. I wished I'd taken drugs, and I don't remember much more than that.
Interesting.
American Desi.
Nope.
It's an Indian film. American Pastoral. I remember hearing about this.
This is Ewan McGregor directing.
Yeah?
A really really well-known story. Really wanted to see it, and I missed it.
Anytown, USA. Bad Parents. Big Night, which was really good. The
Awesome
Stanley Tucci movie. We've
Awesome
talked about
movie.
that before.
I
Really-
know. We've talked about that before?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
How did
yeah.
I forget this? It was
Yeah.
directed by Stanley Tucci and Campbell Scott.
Yeah.
And
Or
they're-
Tanbull.
Yeah.
Scoochie.
Campbell Tucci, Scott Stanley.
Hey.
They both have like two like last names as their first names and so on and so forth. But no, Big Night's really good. Talk about a movie like don't watch Big Night and Chef on an empty stomach.
Oh,
I got to
because both of those movies are just. I mean,
actually, if you can watch Big Night and Chef back to back without pausing to go get food, then you should win some kind of prize.
You probably should. Then there is Bogus. I remember this movie.
Me too.
I don't think I ever saw it.
Oh, Bogus. He's like Gerard Depardieu is like this phantom like magician or something like that to
Okay.
Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, he's like an imaginary friend.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Yeah, I never saw it either. I remember it coming out though. Brain Scan.
Do you remember this one?
Ed Furlong.
I saw it on Blockbuster shelves.
It sounds like something Ed Furlong would be in.
Yeah, it does. The Cartel.
Nope.
Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
It's
Did you ever
based
see
on
it?
a Stephen King.
Yeah, it's an anthology type of thing. It's got like James Woods and like a few recognizable people.
Yeah, I never saw this.
Yeah.
The Cookout. I did see this shit.
This has got like Ja Rule.
Yeah.
And fucking
I
like
saw
Queen
it.
Latifah.
I
Not
don't-
Queen Latifah, but a few like hip hop artists. in it.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember it sucking. And then there's Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah, this was a like I guess a cult movie.
Yeah, it's got a kind of a cult following.
Yeah.
I never saw it. Fatal Desire. This is a
Have
lifetime.
you not seen this?
This is a Lifetime movie.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's a Lifetime movie with Eric Roberts and Anne Heche.
Nope, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God! See,
I was hoping
if
that
there's
you-
any,
Man, you would think.
if there's anything playing off the Basic Instinct titles, it's
Fatal
this.
Desire.
Fierce People, 2005.
Yep, saw it.
What was this about?
This is the one I brought up on a previous podcast where it's
Oh, I
Anton
remember you saying-
Yelchin.
Ah,
and Diane Lane and Chris Evans and Donald Sutherland. Chris Evans actually rapes Anton Yelchin's character as like some anthropological tribal sign of dominance. It's a very Kristen Stewart's in it.
Of course, that's why you watched it.
I don't think yes, it is. I don't think I can recommend this movie.
No,
No,
well,
yeah.
it got really bad reviews. I think.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable and awkward and difficult. And basically the whole premise is that she's a nurse who took care of Donald Sutherland and he likes her, so he invites her and her son to just live at his mansion because he's a millionaire. And then the rest of the movie is just some nurse and her son are living at this mansion because the old guy said, why don't you? It's really weird.
so don't
Let's
watch
move on.
Fierce People and
Yeah.
Happiness.
I wish I could take back the last 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Yeah, don't watch Fierce People and Happiness back to back or
Yes,
ever
don't.
or at all. Then there is Girl Most Likely, Kristen Wiig movie. I never saw this.
Oh, this got pretty good reviews too.
Did it?
Most likely
Yeah.
to be interrupted.
Yes, Girl Most Likely to be Interrupted. Jersey Boys. This is the Clint Eastwood adaptation of
I
the
saw
musical.
this.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I watched all the way to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not compelled by
I had no interest in this movie whatsoever.
Yeah, and again, this was a musical stage show first, and probably more compelling in that format. My mom saw it, loved it. Then Clint Eastwood comes along to make a movie, and it becomes this biopic. And the songs get relegated to, performance montages and whatnot. And it's basically the four of them hating and yelling at each other the whole movie.
Oh, nice.
It's like it's
Yeah.
no fun at all.
Oh.
Yeah, don't depress yourself.
Yeah. Then there's Life During Wartime, which was the sequel to Happiness. I never saw this.
I didn't know it existed
Todd
until
Solondz. I didn't know it did either. None of us have seen it though. Marnie. This is a Hitchcock movie with Sean Connery. I've never seen this one. I've seen a lot of Hitchcock.
It's got Tippi Hedren on it,
Yeah.
too, and this is a shameful thing. I should probably have known about.
Yeah, the combination of Connery and Hitchcock alone should have drawn me to this movie, and yet, no, haven't seen it.
to check it
It's,
out.
One for the Money. That is with Katherine Heigl.
Oh, remember this?
This
she's
is another bounty hunter movie.
She's the bounty hunter.
I think I saw this
It's
one.
based
I didn't
off
see.
of Sue Grafton or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, Sue Grafton did all those. A is for alibi, B is for breakfast, whatever.
Just spit on myself. Literally, spit came out of my mouth and landed on my arm.
I think I actually saw this one. I didn't see Bounty Hunter, but I did see this one. And yeah, this was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it
this
was.
a horrible movie. Out of the Furnace. That was the Christian Bale movie. I've never seen this.
Oh, I saw this.
I imagine you would have seen this.
This is God, this must have gone straight to HBO or something, right? Like, I don't feel like this ever played in theaters.
I think it did, but it was like limited or something.
Yeah, I watched it on the strength of Christian Bale, and I didn't like it very much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to find an old podcast where I made that my recommend.
There's a bunch of these Christian Bale movies I've never seen, and I'm always going to confuse it with like is that the one where he got all thin and everything? That's The Machinist.
Yeah.
But like it's there's so many in that group that I've never seen.
Yep.
It's like surely he did something fucked up for this movie too.
By the way, it was Janet Ivanovich that did One for the Money instead of Sue Grafton. But I'm glad.
Okay.
I'm glad we got that quote.
Yeah. Then there's Patterson. That was the Adam Driver movie that Jim Jarmusch did last year, I believe it was. I still haven't seen it, but I like Adam Driver a lot.
I do, and I like Jim Jarmusch a lot. So
Patty Cakes with a $sign and the S.
this has been playing on HBO a lot.
It's like an HBO original, I think.
Yeah, is it good?
No.
I saw trailers for this and it looked awesome.
I mean, I didn't enjoy it. It's this girl who doesn't look, act, or live anything like what a rapper should, and she wants to be a rapper, and I gave up.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's great, but I couldn't get through it.
The Pickup Artist. That's a Robert Downey Jr., Molly Ringwald movie. It came out in the 80s. James Toback directed it. That's a great person to direct that movie.
I was just thinking, like, I wonder how this has aged.
I believe this movie may have inspired all that stuff that later happened in the game.
Oh, really?
With the guy Mystery and all that that was going on where, you go to bars and you neg women and all that type of stuff. Isn't that what I think this actually may have been sort of the beginning base of all of that, like the stuff that Downey Jr. does in this. I've never seen the movie.
I haven't either.
But I think it does have some sort of root into that. Running on Empty. I should have seen this, but I haven't. Sidney Lumet, River Phoenix was in this one.
Saw it.
You did?
Yeah, but it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was good.
Interesting.
This was in a phase where I was watching everything River Phoenix had ever made. That's why I saw Mosquito Coast.
Oh, interesting.
And My Own Private Idaho. Basically, I think it was probably right around the time he had died. And I was like, oh, we lost the next Johnny Depp. I better go watch everything he's ever made.
Must not have been that much, right?
No, he was pretty young.
Yeah.
Then there's Running Scared. This is the Paul Walker Running Scared. This movie is batshit insane.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen it.
It is a I mean, I remember really liking this movie because Paul Walker is so it's one of those crime getting chased type movies and everything. Running Scared. But there's a point where Paul Walker is like just had it, he's like, I'm done, and he's like just goes off the deep end and just like yelling at the guy who's going to kill him and everything. And it really just like got my like adrenaline pumping. This movie did. It's not good, but it's just one of those type of things. Vera Farmiga's in it. Cameron Bright, who may be best known for that Nicole Kidman bathtub movie.
The hell is that?
Birth.
Oh, God.
He's in it too, and there's like a scene where this movie's just like a series of detours and shit, like they're running away from people and whatever, and then they like let's go hide out in this place, and it's like one part of it happens to be an apartment where Cameron Bright is in it or whatever. I don't remember everything about this movie. I just remember it being like, this is one of those great sucky movies.
Nice. Like Law Abiding Citizen?
Law Abiding Citizen, yeah. It's Wayne Kramer who wrote The Cooler.
Ah, cool.
Then there's Sherry Baby, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Isn't Sherry Baby, I'm trying to think of what this movie's about. I think
she's
I've seen
a
it.
recovering heroin addict.
Yeah, and she's trying to get a job, right?
Yeah,
she's trying to
got
get
a kid.
and isn't Danny Trejo in this
I
too?
believe so.
But I remember this being pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Does he use that song, Sherry Baby?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Sherry Baby.
Is that in Jersey Boys?
Stealing Home. That's the Mark Harmon, Jodie Foster
Mm-hmm.
Baseball movie?
It's a baseball movie.
Better be.
Yeah. If it's not, then
God damn it.
yeah, that means it's like a whole different other kind of movie. It's like Home Alone or something like that with like, they're trying to steal somebody's home or some shit. And then there's Win Win. I have seen this. Paul Giamatti, a wrestling coach.
Oh, I have seen this.
I hear it's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got a secret or something like that kind of brings him down. Something like that, maybe.
I'm making the face that should convey, I don't remember it well enough to answer your question. I can't help you in this moment.
Okay. And that's all those. All right. So, and then the honorable mention, The Sopranos, obviously, is the TV show that was seeped in Jersey.
It
It may be one of the most perfect TV shows I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty great.
It's really the beginning of TV's Renaissance period that as we know it today.
It kind of like marked that, right? Like that was what was it, 2000, 2001 that came out?
99?
It was 99 because Analyze This came out, which was the same sort of deal.
Yeah.
Except, Analyze This was more comedy and everything. But, yes, TV as we know it, though all these great shows that we keep running into nowadays can be traced back to The Sopranos, where it becomes, appointment television again and everything.
I've never seen anybody as like intimidating as James Gandolfini, which is crazy. Yeah, all right, he's a big dude and everything, but he's not like an intimidatingly like built dude or anything. He's a fat dude. But he will when he gets that face, that Tony Soprano face, and he lays into somebody. He's terrifying.
Yeah.
Man.
He had made a career of playing these thugs in movies forever, like Get Shorty,
True Romance,
The Juror, True Romance, all the and then it was kind of interesting to see him carry an entire TV series like this, and it was the first time we really had seen just like really, I don't know, movie-like character development and everything. And there are probably some other TV shows before it that's kind of dabbled in it or whatever, but this was the first time it was like, this is something that people subscribe to HBO for, and this is why HBO has become prestige television, is because of this show. And they've been cranking out like stuff that's must see since.
Yep.
All right, well that's our trip through Jersey. And we never intended to answer questions because we knew New Jersey was going to be.
We might have to do New York in 2 episodes.
I think we probably should. It almost feels like we gave California a little bit of short shrift because there's so
Fuck California, though.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I do want to cover like the New York stuff. There was a lot of stuff that overlapped with New York and New Jersey that we decided to put off until New York, and we may do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. So many of these things could easily have been New York as well.
Because I love talking about this. So you don't talk about things like Win-Win all that much. We don't talk about The Sopranos as a series all that much. This gives you an opportunity to really like hit movies that we don't normally get into.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. Keep going to Facebook for the SinCast presented by Cinemasins page that we have, and do some comments there.
Do some comments.
We've been sort of, I don't know. I think people have started to fall off a little bit on these comments.
Oh yeah.
Do you notice anything less on fewer on SoundCloud?
I think it's pretty consistent. But let us know what you think. Don't just stand by.
But it was just sort of I don't know.
Get in the game.
It's kind of tapered off a bit, but it could be me. I answer the questions there, so maybe you don't like what I'm saying on
Facebook. They love what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, whatever. But you can go to Facebook, you can go to SoundCloud, you can go to Twitter. There's a lot of places that you can find us and comment on this very episode. That'll do it for this week. Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Scher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
the whole time I'm like, you shouldn't have fucked her.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have fucked her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like he's like, yeah.
I want to make
Exactly.
that the cold open so bad.
Yeah. That's going to have to be the cold open now. Oh, good God. That's the thing. Like, I have a feeling that some of those, like the good ones, were like they went and bought it and said, "Here it is."
Beasts of No Nation. That
Yeah,
was another
Beasts of
one
No
that they
Nation.
did that might have been bought. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how it was. If
They
it was
have certainly
acquired or
made-
if they said, "Here's money, make the movie for us."
My wife was watching one. Sierra Somebody is a Loser. It's a Netflix original film.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I recognized a handful of the girls and guy actors. It's like a teen coming of age angsty. It was terrible.
Yeah, I in fact, I think I started watching that movie and I was like, ugh.
It was terrible.
I mean, yeah, like Extinction apparently is terrible. Fucking the Kelsey Grammer one that came out, where he's the long lost dad. Is it Kate Hudson that's in that?
I didn't see that.
Oh,
There's
I remember
another one.
seeing a trailer for that.
Game Over Man, which I didn't see. It's got like Adam Levine, not Adam Devine, not Adam Levine. But that one got terrible reviews.
Yep.
It wasn't the Kissing Booth that you're talking about, is it?
No, it's that some girl Sierra Somebody is
Sierra
a loser.
Burgess is a loser.
Yeah.
Ridiculous Six. Yeah, I don't know.
It
man.
wasn't this one though. It was another one that I was watching that like it was trending on Twitter and shit. And like I was like, I'll give that a shot. And about 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, at first I thought it was a series. And then I realized, oh, it's an hour and a half movie.
I'm sure they're doing the right thing from a business model standpoint in terms of like this throwing everything at the wall and see what sticks. And also Ridiculous Six and Kissing Booth and plenty of these movies that are shit, Bright, get watched.
Sure, yeah.
They greenlit Bright 2 like the first weekend after Bright. So there must have been some business reason. I do wish we could go back to that. There was a 2 or 3 year period where Netflix original as a phrase meant quality.
Mm-hmm.
And now it doesn't even mean that for TV shows anymore. It doesn't mean that for movies. Now it's basically like any other studio. It's hit and miss.
Yeah, yeah. They're just betting on the hits.
I hate that.
Yeah. Does Will Smith die at the end of Bright? Or does he die and come back?
No, he's saved before he died.
He's saved before he dies. Okay. So
Maybe-
they'll have the band back.
Maybe it
together
was the
for
centaur that saved him. That
Pretty
random
sure-
centaur cop.
I'm trying to think of because there's a scene where there's like some sort of eternal pit of death, and like I think
Eternal.
either the Joel Edgerton lizard character's thrown down there, or Will Smith is, and one or the other saves the other.
Yeah.
I can't remember which
That's
one.
how memorable that
It doesn't
movie is.
matter. It just doesn't matter because you're sitting there going, "Oh, there's a possibility of a major death right here." No, there's never a possibility.
Just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You went to you, babies.
I did.
You bastard.
I went through the drive-through. They have a drive-through.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it quick?
It's pretty quick, yeah.
All right.
It's not like McDonald's quick, but it's pretty
I
quick.
imagine it's like how Steak and Shake is, or whatever.
Yeah, somewhere
Yeah.
like that.
Quick enough.
And this lady was like the nicest lady in the world. She was like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And I was like, "You know what, baby?
I'm doing Hugh, baby.
You have the nicest Wendy's in the world by you."
Yeah. You go by my Wendy's?
We used to when we were playing poker up there. And like they're all like very, very nice. They're all quick. Like it's super clean. That's a good Wendy's.
Yeah. It's actually pretty rare to find like a Wendy's with that good of a staff. But yeah, you're right. That's a
I
good
used to
Wendy's.
have the best Taco Bell in the country down the street from me in Chicago.
What's bizarre to me is how like the strategy that Wendy's and Chick-fil-A seem to employ of like scarcity frustrates me. Like there's only one Wendy's in my entire suburb. And I've got
Is it really?
4 McDonald's,
Yeah.
5 Subways. Like we can sustain another Wendy's. We can sustain a second Chick-fil-A. No,
But you
not
don't
giving
get the
it to us.
quality of the people there. Like Chick-fil-A people are nice, like to a fault. Like they'll fucking.
Oh, it's annoying.
It's like
I just want my fucking food, man.
Well, like-
it's
well,
like a
like-
Stepford Wives kind of thing.
Well, like the whole thing where you say thank you and they're like, my pleasure and shit. And you're like,
exactly.
fuck, you know what? I hear it. Once I hear this 2 or 3 times, I realize that's what you were told to say.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with your pleasure.
you
at
actually
all.
are not pleasured
Yeah,
by
exactly.
helping me.
Did your wife, was she trained at Barnes & Noble to not say no problem?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to ask her.
That was something that corporate made us learn when somebody would call in looking for a book or for a CD. I worked in music. They were like, do you have this? And if you say yes or no or whatever, they're like, thank you. You're not supposed to say no problem, because then that assumes that there would have been a problem. You're supposed to say you're welcome.
God, I probably mentioned this before, but at Kroger, the district manager I was under would not let you use the word problem. It was always opportunity. And so if he's shaming you in a meeting, he's saying your store has a ton of opportunities. And it was just as eye-rolly as the Chick-fil-A My Pleasure. I'm like, it's not your pleasure. You're making, it's probably, as fast food jobs go, it's probably a pretty good job. I would guess.
Oh, yeah, they pay like $11 an hour.
Better than average. But it's not your pleasure.
And you get Sundays off, too.
That's right.
Seriously, you never have to work a Sunday.
Yeah, for Jesus.
Yeah. Isn't it, though, I think there's some sort of a graph you can create where your desire for Chick-fil-A is higher on Sunday than it is on any other day?
Because you can't have it.
Well, usually, like, if you're on vacation or something like that, you're on the road on Sunday because you're coming back. And, of course, you want to stop on the road for Chick-fil-A, but can't.
Seems like it's happened 4 or 5 times where I'm like, oh, it'd be a good day to get Chick-fil-A. Oh, it's fucking Sunday.
Sucks. And it's down the road from me, too.
So, and then they do that. This is bullshit too, where they have the holiday like right after Sunday or whatever, and like,
oh yeah,
then they get the 2 days or the whatever, or the holidays on the Sunday, and then they give that's what's the more bullshittier part of it. It's like the holidays on the Sunday, and then on the Monday they're like, well, we were already off on Sunday anyway. Here's another day. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Make me my chicken.
Give us our fucking chicken. Pull up our shit, pull it up. Ever since Hamilton, I'm like musicaling everything in my life. Like, it's driving my wife crazy. But like, I already did this a little bit, but now I'm just like rap singing, like my common everyday movements. Like I'm grabbing more toilet paper because I'm low in my bathroom. Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, just throw that in there.
I need some teepee in my bathroom.
So the second one, did you get like a lot more of the context in that opening number?
Every number, I got a lot more of the context. Like I'm still not particularly moved by much of the romance subplots.
No, me neither.
And it seems like a lot of people are, and that's cool. But I did get a lot more of the context there. The first time through, I was just like, okay, so something with the sister, but they can't be together. The second time through, I understood exactly why he couldn't be with the sister, even though she had feelings for him.
He never hooked up with his second sister, right?
The younger sister? The third one?
The one that set them up in the first place. Wasn't she older?
Yeah, she was older. She was not older.
She
was older.
Okay, yeah.
Because she had to marry into money, not for love.
Right,
because
but
she was
never
the oldest daughter.
They never got together, even though they
No, she just loved him, but she knew he had to be for her sister because her sister could marry for love. She, as the oldest, had to marry for money.
Right.
But I didn't catch any of that the first time around. I just knew there was some kind of vague love triangle.
Oh yeah, because they had that brilliant like scene play out like from one perspective and then went back and then
they
did that rewind thing.
All the bit about that rewind thing is incredible. All the bit about him talking to his son before his son's duel. I didn't catch any of that the first time, but he like specifically instructs his son to point his gun up into the air.
Yeah.
You don't want this man's blood on your hands. And then, of course, all of that gets recycled thematically when he himself is in a duel later and basically reminding himself of what he told his son, and the whole throwing away my shot comes back to roost. And yeah, it was so much more impactful the second time. I do think we
rushed though.
What?
Because those final duels in that second act, both with the kid and with Hamilton, just felt like it was like, okay, talking, duel! It's time for a duel, dead. All right, that's it.
Well, and see, that's the thing. It's probably the greatest stage musical I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So, like I'm going to come in and fix it.
Well,
but I would do one or two fewer numbers about the romance and love, and one or two more numbers about that stuff. That's where the show is electric is when he's pissed off about America. Where it stalls is when it's lovey-dovey, come home and let's have a family. And again, that doesn't mean that's bad. It's just for me, I want more of the angry American.
Yeah, I think it's all thrown in there so that the all the stuff with the son and the blackmail and all that other stuff will be a little bit more resonant than, you know, like if they hadn't focused on it, then you'd be like, well, who cares? We haven't even seen the wife, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I agree. It sort of drags it down a little bit, but at the same time, I can see why they inserted it like that. As far as the duels are concerned, like the first duel, they go through the 10 rules and they go through all of that. And then like, even when it finally gets to the Aaron Burr Hamilton one, Burr is the one talking. He's like, you know, he wore his glasses. Don't you think he was going to try to kill me and all this other type of, and so like, I don't know. Maybe they've said enough about duels at that point. Yeah. But I agree. There's no dramatic tension to it because it's like 1, 2, 3, boom, you know. But, you know, what are you going to do? It's a long fucking musical.
Is it that long? I didn't.
Yeah,
it flew by for me.
It is. And again, it doesn't feel it, but it's just under 3 hours. I mean, you get a 15-minute intermission, but the show from start to finish is 3 hours. So it's about 2 hour, 45-minute show.
And so the soundtrack is that long?
Yeah, the soundtrack is,
because there's no spoken.
There's almost no. There's a few lines here and there, but no. I mean, the soundtrack is basically the length of the show.